Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the main event. Sorry, we're a little bit late this evening. Technical issues do happen to everybody, and they especially happen to Aaron Brody. Aaron, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm just really happy that it's not my fault. Obviously, I prefer everything works smoothly, but, you know, I'm not really good with technical things, and I'm just happy that I'm absolved of the issue this one time.
Yeah,
and it's also, by the way, not Nick's fault either, but feel free to, you know, think otherwise in the chat.
The way I led that in, it made it sound like it was Aaron's fault. It's just all I was nodding to was the fact that Aaron does frequently have technical issues with his camera / advanced headphone setup. So
very technical. Yeah.
I just wanted to, apologize, guys, very briefly, because we're obviously going to be leaping straight into today's action because we are indeed 5 minutes late. You won't get all of the waffle. Well, we're going to waffle, but we don't get the 5 minute dedicated waffle, you know, that we usually have.
There is a really important thing we should get out of the way. Who's your pick right now?
My pick is purely based on, you know, you said I should go back to my roots of picks. My pick is purely based on name. My pick is Michael Busto.
Great name.
Because it's Michael Busto. Do you know what? Didn't even read the rest of his profile, so I can't even tell you why. That's all you need to know. It's Michael Busto.
That's great. He was my second choice, actually.
Oh, really?
I'm going to go with Leo Jose Carne. Back to my roots of picking players that I know do very well against me and have won this tournament before.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of that particular battle. Vibes or cheating, you know, what is more powerful?
Yes, information or random guessing based on how you like their username. Which, by the way, I don't want to dissuade you from picking like that. I mean, that's how I would pick, you know, horses at the racetrack, you know? You picked a funny name.
Do you know what's disgusting? Like the one time that I didn't do that, I was like, this is the best name. I didn't pick it, and it won. Of course, it won.
Of course.
So since then, names only. We appreciate everyone being here. Obviously, usually we do start early and do some things and some stuff. We look like usually the tables started around now. We'll wait to hear further. We'll give you the free roll password very shortly as well. We're all a bit up in the air, guys, since we were unfortunately delayed today. This, I believe, therefore, gives us a small window for you to do what comes naturally, and that is aboard this week's Ambassador of the Week.
Oh, we're actually already in, and oh no. Oh boy!
Oh yeah! No, Michael! No, Michael! No, I can't believe it.
Get over here! Just let it go.
Right, the reason we're excited, guys, is because if you weren't quite here just yet, Michael Busto and Leo are our picks today. I've got Michael on direct left. We always get direct left, don't we? Somehow, some way, whenever we pick players. Michael Busto on the direct left of Aaron's pick, Leo Jose Carne. And if we had seen a 3-bet here off of Leo's stack size, I think there may well have been a 4-bet jam. As it is, we are going to go multi-way potentially to our first flop of the day. Jacks vs Queens, Ace-4 suited getting in here as well in the small blind, and Ace-Deuce tanking a little bit because the price is so unbelievably good, but really not an attractive spot to be coming along there 4 ways with Ace-Deuce off.
I know I'm here to do the analysis about the hands, but I'm just trying to find ways where Leo's jacks don't go broke. Well, so pretty safe flop for both over pairs, you would think.
Yeah, and you'd have to imagine as Leo that given the action, there's not that many hands that you could even conceive of that would be better than yours. You'd expect a 3-bet from Queens, you know, maybe wouldn't get flats from 8x, so maybe just pocket 6s that could also just fold pre-flop. So you are very, very happy here as Leo. Both players, though, not happy on this turn. And Aaron, you may get your wish. I don't think Leo now loses their whole stack.
Yeah, you might not lose it all here. King is not what Leo wanted to see. And Michael might not want to put a bunch of money in on that king either. So a card that could look really, really bad for Leo might actually end up being very, very good for him. And Michael does check it back.
Yeah, interesting to see if anyone does decide to go for any value here. I think given that it's the first hand of the final table, we may well see more passivity generally speaking. We have seen that in the past. I think we will continue to see it here on this 3 of spades. We're both player with a spade, which does lean a little bit more to potential of value bets here.
Yeah, a little quarter pot block type bet would make sense. You're still targeting 9s and 10s, but he does check. And now Michael has to decide, do I want to value bet this hand? Hard to imagine he's actually beat in this spot when the opponent takes a line that he did. But then again, there aren't that many hands you get value from.
Yeah, very important to note that. And we are going to go for the small value bet here. And I think Leo may even conceive they could beat something like pocket 10s, pocket 9s here, given the line they've taken. So Leo will be not happy to lose a million chip pot early doors, but will be pleased that they didn't see 3-bet, because that could have been the end of their tournament immediately.
Yeah, it's a spot where you're obviously really unhappy to lose the pot, but when you think back, what could have really happened is you could be out. And so I try to frame that in my mind as, chips that were gained instead of chips that were lost. But yeah, it depends on where my mindset's at that point.
Yeah, I guess early in the final table, it's easier to be a little bit more, logical, because nothing's really happened yet apart from that. So it's easier to keep remaining that focus that you've probably been trying to build for the last day. Tree, by the way, Tree OML are second in chips here versus Sime Nuts, who is first in chips, as we do get our big blinds. I think for that reason, Tree not going to be going for any silliness here. We do have a free roll password, guys. I'm sorry that everything's a little bit rushed today, but the free roll password, if you would like to play today, it starts registering now. We begin at 7:30 GMT. That's 8:30 UK, and the password is last888FR. Last888FR, you'll be able to find that in the chat from this moment forward, now that I have released it to you. Any further questions about that can be directed towards Lime Ricky, who will be taking care of you guys this evening in the chat. Queen's here for Get Over Here. And
also another great name choice.
Yeah,
I thought you
could have
pick.
gone for that. Yeah, Get Over Here it has a relevance to a game I play as well, actually. So potentially could have gone with that. I did go for Michael Busto, and I have to say, Aaron, pretty happy that I did that.
Yeah, I think it could have gone better for you, but it started pretty well. And it is a great name. I can't really harp on anything about that. They got what we think now is max value after pre-flop. And just so you guys know, there are 2 $480 bounties remaining. Those are the largest ones we have left. And so that might factor in a decision of the bigger stacks to hunt the shorter stacks. While the max bounty is not there, a 480, I believe, is actually larger than the next pay jump. And I said that without even looking. And it is.
Yeah, it's over double, which means that there is a very high probability here that Tree OML finds themselves trying to bust BRS in this situation. 2 queens for BRS, though, and an early position open, even off 17 big blinds, always a little bit scary. But Tree, with the knowledge of that bounty, it just gives you a little bit more. It's sort of the monsters under the bed. You can sort of explain them away. You can say, well, they could have a really good hand, but what about $480? That sounds really nice.
Yeah, just more equity, more incentive to go after it. He does just decide to call here.
We know that any low boards would be disastrous, but the ace-high board, again, much the same as the hand we saw between Leo and Michael, this will slow things down significantly.
Correct. Neither player really happy with this board. Imagine it's going to be a small pot unless the turn really changes things. And this might just be over right now, actually.
Yeah, it's a really poor flop here for Tree, and Tree without the 9 of hearts as well, which matters less at this SPR. But it is important, not just for hitting backdoor flush draws, Aaron, but also for turning that non-flush completing set.
Correct. That way you'll actually get more value when you hit your set, right? Because in this spot here, 9 of hearts would be very scary for BR, even if he had a top pair. And I mean, honestly, as played here, he's not happy either. Wonder if Tree's going to turn his hand to a bluff at some point.
Yeah, Tree, maybe not bottom of range, Aaron, but certainly approaching that. And I think now with the 5 of diamonds on the river, both players will probably try to show this one down. I think that this is likely too thin to go for value with the queens. Maybe 10% pot you could consider.
Yeah.
Does check.
I think players in Tree's spot will mostly check the river. He snap checks it. And I think that's the standard play. But if you think you can make your opponent fold a hand like queens, jacks, tens, king, queen, you might want to consider firing. But I think in that exact spot, I would find myself checking back 9s pretty often too.
Yeah, seems pretty reasonable. I think generally speaking, the reason we see so many checks there is because players can conceive very feasibly that they do have quite a high pot share when they just check, so they don't need to bluff. You know, they can just beat something like pocket sevens or a queen high. Queen high may be less likely, but there's definitely an argument to be made there that you just don't win that often when you tap the table behind there. Lots of tens, jacks, queens, lots of king X that you potentially could get to fold. So it's an interesting river spot for sure, as we see another flop here with Michael Busto and Sime Nuts. Michael will be probably a little bit more passive, generally speaking, with that chip leader to their left, although they do now turn a very nice turn. The Jack of Spades certainly should give them some opportunity to bet this turn. I think fourth pair here for Sime Nuts is starting to look a little bit dubious.
So you might peel one. Michael's hand could have just checked as well, but now he actually bets to try to fold out this exact hand and does it. So it worked out really well for him. Even though he had king high with showdown, just turning that into a bluff. And, you know, like the hand before, even though he had showdown, he decided it was too weak and went for a bluff and got a better hand to fold. You wonder if Tree would have tried that same approach, would it have also been effective?
We had somewhat of a cliffhanger earlier. Aaron, I asked you to give your ambassador of the week. We didn't quite have time. I'm happy with the hands that have been currently dealt to our players that will be sufficient for you to squeeze in ambassador of the week. Ambassador of the week, Aaron Brony, who is it?
I'll be very quick, although it's a roundabout story. So my mother's visiting us right now, and she's been telling everybody all week how I beat 8,000 players at the WSOP main event,
so she
finishing
should.
65th, cash for 125K, how she's so proud of me, blah, blah, blah. And I don't have the heart to tell her. It's actually 9,000 players that I beat at the main event, not 8,000. You know, anyway, the point is my mother's visiting me. I could spend time with her, but instead I'm spending time here with you and with the chat representing our company. Therefore, I'm ambassador of the week.
Well, that is a surprising turn of events. And I wonder whether you might keep that same energy over the next couple of weeks, because it sounds like you put quite a high amount of value on turning up to work regardless of circumstances.
Well, I do. I mean, of course, if I'm on a vacation or busy and I still show up, that's definitely extra points. But why would you? How is that relevant?
Well, over the next 2 weeks, I will not be in the United Kingdom. I won't be here. I will be actually in the United States of America. Oh, wow. And guess who from the beach will be turning up to work?
I mean, I think if you stream from the beach, the actual beach, it's going to be hard to beat you. I could win the tournament. I'd be like, I'll probably give it to you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to wangle the actual beach. I think I need to connect to some sort of internet from the house that's located near the beach house, if you so like. Yeah. But I will not be on my regular setup. It won't be as crisp. My tones will be slightly dulled, maybe even muffled, but it's not about that. It's about turning up. It's about showing commitment, and it's about winning or potentially winning Ambassador of the Week. If there's anything that I could ever do, I don't even have a holiday, guys. I'm just seeing what I have to do to win Ambassador of the Week.
You're doing it for the Ambassador. I mean, you definitely have the pole position of Ambassador of the Week right now. Yeah. Me and you neck and neck. Everyone else very far behind.
Yeah,
it's pretty much a two-man race. Yeah.
I'd like to do a quick shout out, if that's okay. Sure. I think we've got time. Vic 1272. Look how excited they are to full capitals. Vic 1272 played their first live event with me. They were on my right in the Reading main event, and they were a very pleasant person to spend the day with. Well, I say spend the day with. I didn't last as long as Vic did, naturally. But Vic played very well for their first tournament, and they were very, very nice, and I had a great time playing with them. And they were very kind about me, so obviously that's going to score them lots of points. They also made quite a few full houses. Vic, I would love to know how exactly you do that. But shout out to you. Thank you for coming to play our events, and thank you for tuning into our stream this evening.
I mean, honestly, if I knew that before, you might have been worthy of Ambassador of the Week this week.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the crown's already been, put on.
It's too late.
So
yeah.
Good. Better luck next week.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, look, all I can do is I want there to be some sort of maybe not trauma, but something really important going on in my life. And then just to turn up to work anyway, to see if I can win Ambassador of the Week. I want to know what it takes to knock you off the pedestal. It's got to be tough.
I mean, well, I don't know. I haven't seen it happen yet, but no. You know, you have been the closest. There was an earlier situation where I think if we would have done it,
it was my birthday.
On live that day, you would have won.
Yeah.
So just got to
keep
There was a
trying.
Chance.
It got cancelled. I even went for an early birthday dinner. I cancelled my later plans, made earlier plans so I could be home in time to do the event, and then it got cancelled. So basically, my birthday was completely ruined. I feel like that maybe could have deserved it anyway, posthumously, but it wasn't to be. I think you'd like won a tournament the next week or something, so it just ruined
probably.
it. Queen's here for Leo, by the way, and a very good opportunity here for Aaron Baroni's pick to go for a double, because Morgan, you'd have to imagine, will be involved in this one, but maybe not now. 10's looking slightly less good as a result of this interesting, very small 3-bet from Get Over Here on the button versus the under the gun player as well.
It's a frightening 3-bet here if you have 10s, and Morgan gets away from it pretty quickly. Leo, we imagine, will just get the money in here. And we'll win this. I don't know if he'll win it uncontested. Do you think that Get Over Here calls it off now?
I mean, you're certainly better placed to analyze that than me, but I wouldn't have thought so. I think that 3.8 is the dead giveaway there. It sort of like gives you the room to fold.
Yeah.
Rather than making it like 5 big blinds and then being like, oh, bother. Now I have to stick it in. And maybe that's the sizing they use when they do have a good hand anyway, but it certainly seems to be the size that gives those bluffs room to fold versus the further aggression.
Yeah, and to be fair, if Leo has a hand there like Ace Jack or Pocket Nines, he could be, convinced to fold. It's just that he has queens, or it's hands like, well, I'm always getting this in.
Mm-hmm. Pocket Nines here for Leo, who seems to be getting some of that Aaron pick heat that has been so prevalent over the last, let me check, 7 months. Approaching 8, all in here from Leo, who will be up to 20 big blinds after the King 8 offsuit of Trio ML does fold. Free roll password is available. If you put exclamation mark password in the chat, I believe it is last 888 FR. Last 888 FR. If you'd like to play our free roll today whilst we are streaming this event, that starts in 9 minutes. You can register now with that password, last 888 FR. And of course, we will be doing the flame out quarter past the next hour. So if you do play today's tournament and it doesn't go well for you, don't worry, because we want to know exactly how badly it went. We want to know how you feel about that. And we want it in a short anecdote to impress us, make us laugh, make us cry. And you could be this week's winner of the free roll flameout.
Yeah, Leo, by the way, almost back to where he started the tournament with today. Mm-hmm. Such heat. Way to go. Incredible
heat. Dodging Queens versus Jacks first hand, getting a million pairs after that. Gonna get shoved here from Michael Busto. Absolutely love this. This is the difference. Let me just explain something to Aaron. This is the difference between my picks and your picks. This is the difference between me and every other player that plays this game. This is how me and Michael have to win pots. We need to work hard. The best hand? We need to shove with ace 4 offsuit versus a cutoff open versus a good player like Morgan. We need to create our chips. Chips fall in the lap of Aaron and his benefactors. And I just want to make that very clear before we move on today.
And if you would also like to be one of my benefactors where the chips fall into your laps, you can sign up. But no, I mean, it's going all right for both of our picks. They're still in it. Often at this point, one of them has lost, and we are bemoaning our respective bad luck. But speaking of the free roll flameout, I do want to point out that there is somebody in our chat who isn't a huge fan of it. But I think he might be growing on him, because I hosted the home game last week.
Ooh,
and It's the Pits won the home game.
Oh, there's no justice. There's no justice.
So he doesn't like the free roll flameout that much, but you make it $1, and he's like, I'm all about that tournament.
To be fair to It's the Pits, he didn't flame out.
No.
Maybe he hates the flameout so much that he just doesn't bust.
We've actually encouraged him to play better and to win more. And so for that, It's the Pits. You're welcome.
You are welcome, It's the Pits. There they are in chat. They're always here. We like to have fun with It's the Pits, but we really appreciate them turning up every week, regardless of how much they hate the free roll flameout. And we still hope, beyond hope, that one day It's the Pits will enter the free roll flameout. and therefore be the only submission that I put towards Aaron. And if there is ever one submission, he will know why. It's because It's the Pits has entered the flame out.
He could just write, I played the free roll.
didn't
You've
win.
won.
yeah. Or he could just say, I hate this, anything that's said in that small window where you're allowed to enter. Accidental entries. Get over here with the 1.4 after opening the pocket fives from early position. BRS or Burst if you prefer something a little bit more interesting, is going to call and turn the absolute Stone Nizzies. Go over here probably doesn't want to be, generally speaking, Baron this turn, but King is a very good card versus Big Blind defending range for an early position raiser.
It is, and he can make a 9 fold. He can make most 10s fold. He can bet some diamonds on the river. An ace river seems pretty good for him. Even a queen or a jack river, a straight completer, he might think are good for him. So you might see some aggression here from this sort of a hand to fold out slightly better ones. He does check it back.
Yeah, going to be checking. I think the 9 of hearts is likely not to get over here any more money. I'd be surprised if Burst found a check here, and I think even versus check, go over here may well consider tapping the table behind as well, because you could imagine beating something like pocket fours here, I would have thought.
Yeah, ace deuce, hands like that.
Ace high, but it's not going to be check. It's going to be a very understandable value bet from a straight, and unfortunately for Burst there won't be any more value to be had here, but they do pick up a pot, which always does feel nice in tournaments. I feel that's the difference sometimes between tournaments and cash games. Cash games, you get a straight, you don't win 100 big blinds, you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Tournaments, you get a straight, you win like a 10 big blind pot. It can be huge. It can be massive.
There's just some elation winning a pot in a tournament, even if it's smaller than you wished it would be.
Some more Aaron-related distribution here for Leo Jose Carne, who's woken up with the king, surprisingly enough. Going to open this up to 2 big blinds, and before Aaron can get a word in, I'm going to continue to talk about this one because there's a chance that Syme may well 3-bet here, and given how good Aaron runs at player picks, I wouldn't be surprised if Syme did go for 3-bet here. They do go for the call on this occasion, though, with the ace-7 of diamonds. Thought they might take the more aggressive route, maybe one of those small 3-bets that Get Over Here experimented with earlier. But Leo obviously in great shape here with the 2 kings as we go to a flop, which does have an ace on it. And now I will relinquish the microphone over to Aaron to tell me how wrong I am about how good he runs.
Part of why I picked Leo is the name Leo itself attracts a lot of premium pocket pairs.
It does, yes.
Our own Leo Jakura is the king of this. And so I figured maybe that would help a little bit. And it has helped. He's gotten some great hands. Yeah. Unfortunately, there have been some bad flops. And this is another one of those. Still, though, it goes check, and he might think his hand's good now and decide to bet small. Does go for a check. Kings on this board, kind of the hand that might get 1 street of value. So right here, maybe he wants to bet a block bet of 2-ish big blinds, get called by a hand like Queen Jack. Might still check to trap. Both, I think, are pretty reasonable choices here.
Yep, here comes the block, and it's just a matter of whether Syme Nuts thinks they can go for a raise here. Not being able to beat any other ace-X.
Yeah.
Probably the reason we see only call. Leo will be bemoaning that ace-high board now, and unfortunately down to 14 big blinds, but still in the mix and may well consider opening this ace-10 offsuit.
Yeah, he's been dealt jacks and queens and kings and 9s, and he's like, well, it's been an orbit and a half, and somehow I've lost chips. It just feels unfair.
It does.
And, we were talking about the joy of winning a pot in poker tournaments. And sometimes the opposite of that's true also, right? You keep being dealt good or great hands and you don't win chips. You're like, what more do I need to do?
Well, you have to have the best hand at the end of the hand.
That is helpful.
Yeah. As a 65th place finisher in the main event, you should know a few things about that.
I had the best hand a few times. I will say in the main event, as you know, when you have the nuts early, day 1, you feel invincible, obviously. Whenever you do not have the nuts, you want them to put money in, but not all the money. Don't put too much.
I can certainly relate to that. I think I can count the amount of hands that I won in 14 hours of the main event on one hand. Maybe not the hands I won, but the hands I had the best hand in by the river. Those were certainly few and far between. I think I might have value bet once. Yeah. That sounds about right. All in here from Get Over Here. Morgan's going to go for the snap call, obviously, with the ace-king. Get Over Here looking for running cards or an 8. It's going to have to be an 8 that isn't a diamond now. Or we could find another way, a running chop here for Get Over Here, who is very fortunate to be getting out of there with half a pot.
Yeah, even the 8 of diamonds wouldn't have been good for him, as Morgan would have made a flush. But a pretty gross spot here. You have ace-8 blind on blind for basically 10 big blinds, and you get coolered. So, Get Over Here, happy to dodge that.
Yes, very well dodged. Burst for us here with ace-9 of diamonds. Probably going to be opening up here from hijack and trio ML and the big. Ace-10 of spades seems like the most likely candidate to have something to say about that. Remember, guys, we do have $109 tickets to give out to you this evening. No strings attached. You have to play some silly games, but apart from that, everyone's got a fairly equal chance of winning. We'll be asking Aaron a question. Aaron will be asking me a question. We'll also do a very basic keyword for those that feel these things are unfair, or we change the rules and make it so it's harder for you to win. Basically, guys, we're trying to allow for everybody to have a chance to win multiple times, and we'll also have a wheel of justice later on this evening. Once this is all said and done, someone will win a $320 ticket to play one of our Tuesday or Thursday tournaments. Aaron will be able to tell you more about that later on.
Yeah, ace-10 far ahead pre and further ahead now, flopping a nut flush draw.
Yeah, Run Good are trying to elicit some karma by congratulating those in advance for tickets that have not yet been won. Don't believe that's how it works. And this, by the way, will also not work. This ace-9 of diamonds betting out here for half pot. Ace-10 of spades for trio ML is just going to bang it in, wants to run that equity, doesn't want to check, potentially fold the turn or have some tough decisions. This just goes a lot smoother in many ways. And I think this bet size has allowed trio ML to go for this a bit more.
Yeah, and we know that he has his best hand, but there are times his opponent might have a hand like ace queen, ace jack, even ace king, and maybe he can get them to fold.
Yeah.
Versus thinking about this, though.
Yeah, wondering whether there's just raw flush draws in here that are worse than this, but the very presence of that ace high flush draw that's potentially better than yours, because you can imagine ace 10, ace jack, maybe even ace queen of spades. I guess that's a little bit more optimistic, only flatting out of the big in these positions when there are ladders available. Obviously, AK now is very, very short. Unfortunately for AK, they have absolutely no fold equity when there's a couple of larger bounties out there.
Yeah, and I think the presence of potential ladders is the big thing, right? Like Burst does still have AK, Morgan, and Leo covered. And even though the ladders aren't as big as that one bounty we talked about, the 480 that's still there, 2 actually of those, it is enough.
Leo in trouble here. King 8-3, 1 spade, no spades in Sime Nut's hand, but what he does have is that queen kicker that's going to put Leo in a lot of trouble here with only 3 times the pot left back in Leo's stack. It's going to be very, very difficult not to put the rest of that in depending on this run out. And there aren't that many turns that are good for Leo in terms of not costing them more money. You'd probably say only an ace is going to save Leo anything. And that is not an ace. That's a 7 of clubs. Very, very, very dry. No flush draws available. Sime Nuts with the effective Sime Nuts in this situation. Less than 2 times the pot back for Leo here. I'm expecting to see another bet. I'm expecting Leo to hang on. And only a very bad river, from what Leo would assume, like an ace, or a hero fold is going to save Leo's tournament here. Or they could be out of here in 8th place.
Sime did play the ace-7 very cautiously before when he had top pair. And now
Jack
with
diamonds
pot behind, that card might slow down Sime, although I don't think it really should.
It's one of the scarier looking cards, but when you're defending the big blind, there's just so many hands that you could have called twice with that are just categorically worse than king queen. Obviously weaker queens, maybe something like an 8. Seems to be plentiful 8x available. Doesn't necessarily follow that your opponent could have some sort of like jack 8. It's very rare that this changes anything, this jack, and I think that Sime Nuts correctly does evaluate that. But Leo, unhappy, obviously understands that there's probably no worse hands. If we're talking about king queen potentially maybe checking back in some people's eyes, this is going to be a tough one to get away from. Leo understandably is going to call it off. He's going to be out in 8th place for $600. Sime Nuts now with a massive, massive chip lead here on our final table, and Aaron's player pick is worth $480. And that's why cheating doesn't prosper, guys.
You know, it's just a really rough final table for Leo to be dealt those premium hands and end up with the worst hand nearly every time, and then flop top pair against the chip leader, who you expect to be more of the aggressive player at the table compared to the rest. and a fairly cleanish run out. And you stick around with top pair, and just really unfortunate for Leo. But let's remember how fortunate it is for Nick, and for that's what really matters, right? That's why we're here, chat.
I do matter
for Nick's enjoyment. But GG, Leo. I picked you. I pick you again. Yeah. Good luck next time.
For anyone confused or concerned that I'm calling a player out cheating, I'm calling Aaron a cheater. Aaron is a cheater. Not in the game, just in player picks. But that means a lot more to me than the game. This is the game. This is life. Player picks will be won this week by me. I'm still going to be quite a lot of points behind regardless. But it's always nice it's just nice to win one, Let the little guy have one from time to time.
Fan of educating yourself. That seems like an unfair advantage. If you ever learn something that Nick didn't know, that's cheating.
You pick up this stuff from playing the game,
Yeah.
And I assume
what a crazy idea.
Well, I played 5 times in this event yesterday. 5 times. How many hands did I win, Aaron? How many hands? And I know you know this already because I already complained. But how many hands did I win?
It's the exact number that the chat thinks it is.
Yes.
You know it, chat. I know it.
I didn't win one bloody hand yesterday in 5 bullets. Now, granted, I did late reg. There was like 45 minutes left, but I had 15 big blinds. Then I had 12, and then I had 10. I had 10 twice, and then I had 9. None of them mattered. I lost every single all-in, and it wasn't even particularly close. So I don't have the opportunity. The game won't let me learn. I didn't get to be a part of this for long enough to understand who's good and who isn't. I have to go with the vibes. I have to go with the names.
Well, it turns out the vibes are working very well for you. And if it makes you feel any better, you and I won the same number of hands in this tournament yesterday.
You didn't play the tournament.
I didn't play. No, I
don't want you to have your moment. Because I was searching for you. Oh dear, Michael Busto here. Easty luck is back, Aaron. We got 2 kings here against 2 aces, and we don't see this very often. I mean, this is very, very rare. I don't think we've seen this that often at all over the last 8 months that we've been doing this. But some things are unavoidable, and this is about as unavoidable as it gets in poker.
Yeah, now there are 2 kings left in the deck for Michael, 2 aces as well, I believe, for Burse. But the money's likely just to get in right here.
Yep, it's going to be a 3-bet jam, and Burst could have gone for a little 3-bet, much to akin to get over his small 3-bet earlier with Queen Jack, but it wouldn't have mattered what they did because this one has to go in. Looking for running chops, potential here, king or 6, potentially for Michael Busto, but unfortunately Michael Busto has been, what's the opposite of blessed? By being picked by Easty. Nothing much you can do about that one. Cursed. Well, yeah, there we go. I am a curse. I have I said this is very rare. I have multiple instances of UKPLs where I get kings into aces on the feature table. So, Michael, that's just, look, I said before, we got to make our chips another way, man. We can't win them like that. That's not how it works for us. We have to be honest. We have to make an honest, hard-working living, unlike some of us.
You have to earn it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. It's tough out there for people like me and Michael.
I know you don't believe it, but I identify with that sentiment. I really do.
Nah, you don't know what I'm talking about. Get over here with Asus. Thinking about doing something frisky. We have seen some friskiness from Get Over Here in recent hands. This will allow Morgan into the hand, and they wouldn't have been too excited about getting this one in, but one being blind more to call and see a flop and see a few diamonds as well. We're going to have Morgan potentially all in here, and they're just going to go for a very, very quick lead. It is a board that favors the big blind. It is not a board that favors Trio ML's King Jack of Spades, but Bruce first, will be going all in here. Morgan will be forced to call 2 overs against a flush draw, pretty much a flip. Morgan makes it not a flip whatsoever as they run a 2 pair up to 27 big blinds. They've had a quiet start, and now they're in a really good position, and it's getting to be a little bit bleak for AK91.
And Morgan did final table this event in March, coming in 7th. And right now, if they would have gone out right there, that would have been 7th. So they have a chance to improve upon their best finish from before. I'm glad we got that in there before they, if they went out 7th, it would be unfortunate.
I have seen just quite a remarkable question in the chat, which I'm hoping I can address. Hey, Nick and Easty. And you won't be surprised. No, this is from one of my favorite chat contributors, MS Attack. Hey, Nick and Easty. Well, that's me and me. I have a question. and this makes it even funnier. How often do you cash in the 109 main event that happens every Sunday? For example, out of 100 tournaments, how often do you finish in the money? Well, let me tell you, I have never cashed the 109 main event. I don't play it very often. I will happily direct that question, to someone that has cashed and won the 109 main event, Aaron Baroni. Would you like to take this one? I will allow you to supersede my lack of experience.
Correct. So how often does Nick Eastwood cash in the main event? 0% of the time, actually, so far. I'm really glad you threw it to me.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what my cash percentage is. Mystery bounties are played differently, right? Because you make that mystery bounty phase before you make the money. So there are times where I'll get to that phase and you'll want to gamble your stack for that big bounty. So it's a little different in these tournaments, but I put in as many bullets as they allow me to increase my chance of cashing. And for me, I think it's profitable too. Aces again. This time from Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan having a good run up here as Burst First is going to find the absolute bottom of their range here. 7-handed King Jack offsuit. Is that correct? Am I out of turn here? 20 big blinds, King Jack off.
It's low. Yeah,
it's low. Not the absolute bottom. What's the bottom?
It depends on the player. It's pretty low.
Well, it's going to be pretty low against this 3-bet from Morgan, who makes it 5 big blinds. Just a little bit too much to be jamming, of course. But some may argue that jamming could be quite good here because people aren't opening under the gun. Off of 20 big blinds very light. On this occasion, that is clearly not the case. It's also more accurate for like 3 bets, I would say, or in cash games, for example, when someone 4 bets in position, you just bang in the aces because they're never bluffing, things like this. That can creep into it, but they do go for the smaller 3-bet. They're trying to extract some value, give a good price to some worse hands that obviously are in terrible shape against aces.
Sometimes that small 3-bet does look a lot scarier than just the jam, right? And so you want to think about how would my opponent react if they had pocket 9s or ace queen. And if they are frightened and don't want to put those hands in versus a small 3-bet, then your options probably become either just straight shoving or doing the crazier thing of flatting the aces.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an option that there can be some shoves behind as well when you flat the aces. There's some aggression. We've seen aggression from these players so far today. Set of 7s for Tree. Nothing really doing for everyone else. Obviously, Burst first with the king, but they won't enjoy seeing lots of bets here. And they won't even enjoy seeing 1 bet, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, and Tree was a player I was thinking about picking, but thankfully for them, I did not pick them. I play with Tree a bit. Seems to do fairly well. And right now they have a set, so that's pretty good.
Yep. All true things. We are going to play our first little game of the day, guys. And that is Aaron/Nick Thinks. Aaron, would you like to go first or second today?
I would like to go first, if that's okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to be playing Nick Thinks up first today, guys, for a $109 ticket. If you're confused, let me explain. Aaron is going to ask me a question. And to the best of my abilities, I will give the best possible answer to that question. You are looking for the answer that I think it is, not the actual answer, even if that answer may or may not be available to anyone anyway. I am ready for my question.
Okay.
1 answer only. If you get a duplicate answer, you can answer 1 more time as long as you clarify that you're answering again, because it's a duplicate. Any answering multiple times will be disqualified, and we are strict. Don't answer twice. Aaron, ask me a question.
So your vlog just came out. Day 1 of the main event. And you ended the day with a certain number of chips. I don't want to spoil it. People should check out the vlog. But if you were dealt aces every hand of day 1 of the main event, how many chips do you think you'd end up with? Aces every hand of day 1 of the WSOP main event. How many chips do you think you'd end up with?
So this is I like these because this gives you a little bit of, if you know how many chips you start the main with, if you've ever played the main before, if you ever watched any of my vlogs before, you may understand a few things about these things. So I will get to work on answering that. Aaron?
Yes, I will handle the action here. Ace King from Morgan. I know Morgan wasn't my pick, but they kind of feel like my adopted pick right now. I don't know why they've, entered into my heart or how, but, heart wants what it wants. Morgan has the Ace King.
Every hand.
Every hand. It is interesting. Also, it gives, if you know how many levels you play the main event, what the blinds are, if they've watched any of the content. Like, it's a really, I want to have the question reward people who have been paying attention.
I feel there's a little bit more depth to this question than meets the eye.
It's tough.
I feel like I don't know what to say.
To take your time. It's all right. So Morgan just takes that one down.
I'm going to go with this. And it's going to be controversial, I think, but anyway. Is that your guess? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I thought you might say.
Okay.
King
fair
8
enough.
opening here for Syme. Up against 2 Queen Jack.
8.4, 11.2 million.
48 billion.
Oh, God. Guys. Okay. Look, there's a lot of people that haven't watched my vlogs. That's unfortunate.
That's okay. This is, again, if you get this one wrong, chat, the way you could increase your chance of getting it right next time is to watch, Nick's content.
Wow. That's unbelievable, that. What a plug.
Mm-hmm.
Going to get a winner here for Syme Nuts, who is still our overwhelming chip leader. And by the way, AK921 kind of falling away by the wayside here. Is getting a little bit beyond desperation now. 2.5 big blinds.
Yeah, they really haven't had any unopened spots. So I don't think they've made any tight folds. It's just a matter of not getting hands and there's action before. But they are very short here. Need to try to find a hand or, hope that another player goes out and they can eke into an extra ladder.
Wow, what a terrible bunch of hands this is. AK could jam the King 4 having had it folded to them because they are only a couple of hands away from being effectively forced all in because they won't be able to fold when they've got half their stack in the middle, I wouldn't have thought.
Would have been a great spot too.
I have gone my own way with this question. I think this is. I think everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, shut up," when I start explaining this answer. But I don't. You know what? I don't care. I don't care.
I think what I'm guessing you're gonna say is how I would have thought about it too.
Okay. It is a very interesting question because we're talking, hypothetically, but there is a real, situation that we've got King Jack here. We're Michael Busto. We could potentially be all in. Now, when you're going to be jamming King Jack offsuit, Aaron, this is pretty much the best case scenario here. Being up against 2 10s. Tree is not even that pleased about having to call this off. 2 overcards for Michael Busto, but as we know, I picked them, so there's absolutely no chance at all that this river is a jack. And yet, here we are, Michael Busto, 44 big blinds for them if they find a very, very reasonable, aggressive shove from the small blind and river that jack to take the lead in this hand and give themselves a real shot in this one.
Yeah, unlucky for Tree, unlucky for people who are competing against you in this player pick competition, and unlucky for AK921, who was so close to getting that ladder we talked about, so close to being like, okay, yeah, I folded my way down, but I got an extra couple $100, and now they still have a shot at it, I guess.
Ace Jack and King Jack here. King Jack takes a commanding lead, flopping a straight. Burst first is going to be out of there as well. In 7th place, AK finds another $350 ladder. We made a lot of them having not a lot of chips and having not a lot of chance to get involved in the action. Sometimes that's all it takes to make more money, Aaron.
That's true. And nothing Burst can do there as well. Just getting in good and unlucky, down to 6. Syme extends the chip lead.
Yeah, now being all in effectively blind doesn't feel as bad.
No.
We got a 4-figure payday and we didn't do anything. That feels pretty good. I didn't do anything, but I didn't get 4 figures today.
Me neither. We were very patient. That's really what it is. They were patient.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and they had really no option but to be patient because they were effectively dealt out of this final table. Now, though, great shape against the ace 10 of Michael Busto.
Oh, no. Oh, they were behind.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you get another ladder. It's tougher to get another ladder, but it's not impossible.
Is bordering.
It's
on
difficult
impossible
to do.
Yes. Well, never mind. AK now with 6-2 off and again half their stack in the middle.
Yeah, this spot seems less appealing, but I also think it's more profitable to get the money in.
Yeah, it also does seem like a call off. We are going to pass. There are chances if Get Over Here defends this big blind and we get 8-8 deuce, AK will ladder. They will ladder. We didn't get 8-8 deuce. But if Michael bluffs second pair on this monotone board, we will get another ladder. No, we won't, because he has to get... No, if it comes, Jack... No, okay. No. It's over,
this
guys.
hand, we probably won't see a ladder. However, it does create a really interesting situation now for the players that are not the chip leader, where none of them want to bust here. Like, it is a disaster to bust with a player having half a big blind back.
Massive.
And so it's a great spot for the chip leaders to be aggressive versus Tree and Get Over Here and Morgan and, even Syme versus Michael Busto.
Yeah.
So I wonder what we'll see there. But the player is 0.4 big blinds and the other players are barely allowed to even play the game until they bust.
And this is what's problematic, though. We aren't playing a live tournament, so this is not a big blind ante. This is just an ante.
Yes.
Which means that for the third hand in a row, Aaron, half of AK stack is in the middle.
Yes.
And they have 0. I don't think I've ever seen someone, unless they've... Okay. They're really testing my commentary ability here.
The thing is, next hand, I don't know if they're going to be all in. They actually might have 0.0 behind.
Can we check, please, production? Could you click on the stack of AK and see if they're actually all in, or whether we might pass another hand?
I think we're going to see another one. 14K.
Then they're all in. They're all in. Oh, no, the ante's 7.5K. They're not all in. So, for the fourth hand in a row, AK is half of their stack in the middle, and they're probably going to pass.
Well, I think at this point, you just pray for a ladder. Like, I mean, doubling from 0.1 to 0.8 is like, meh, whatever. So you're just hoping that there's some sort of confrontation that gives you a chance at a ladder. And now I believe they will be all in.
Well, they have no choice. Look, they did well to ladder.
Oh,
they're in quite poor shape to find a way back into this one. How much do they even stand to win?
0.7.
Do they get the ante back, right? But they can't win any blinds. They also
win that entire 0 BB sideboard. Like it's 0 big blinds. They have all the chips there. It's really funny to me.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, this won't matter because AK's all in blind, right?
Yes.
And there's still a $480 bounty out there. So Get Over Here's decided to go with it. The timing is off. Not that it's a bad play, but the timing is off. As Tree will go in for it as well. And Michael Busto, while they may well have called off the Get Over Here shove, is not going to be calling this one. And they would have flopped a set, Aaron. If Get Over Here hadn't have gone for this one, they would have flopped a set. And Michael Busto would have had a lot more chips here. If this had just been a little bit different, if AK hadn't have bled themselves down and been all in blind, Get Over Here doesn't shove, Tree and Michael get it in, and Michael's got 70 big blinds. The butterfly effect is in full effect here. But what is the most important thing to mention is that AK, despite a valiant effort, is out of our tournament.
I was really rooting for them to get there on the end.
So was I.
I really want them to get there.
Yeah, so was I.
The most biased commentators you guys will ever get to listen to is Nick and I.
Yeah. So we do have an answer and a winner.
Okay.
And this is a lot more of a nuanced and interesting question than anyone probably went for in chat, because it's safe to say that there probably aren't loads of people that are familiar with the main event structure. We get a 3-bet here by signups, by the way, with the big little. This is not going to work. I think Morgan just banks this in. They are going to do that. So aces, you might be thinking, well, Easy is going to be all in with aces. He's going to lose. You'd be right, but I wouldn't be all in ever, because the question was, how many chips would you have at the end of the day if you had aces every hand of the day, one of the main event? You start with 60,000. Now, if you're going to have I assume I know I'm going to have aces every hand.
Yeah,
that's what I assumed.
Sure.
If I'm going to have aces every hand, as we do have Michael Busto going for the call here, I'll keep an eye on this action, guys, don't worry, as I waffle, then I'm not going to be all in. I'll probably do a bit of set mining. I'll probably do a lot of not being all in, especially not pre-flop, because I don't have to wait very long to have aces again. In fact, I only have to fold and they'll give me aces back. So you never need to risk chips. You only need to obviously we're going to get a shove here from Get Over Here as I shut myself right back up. And I will explain more things. Tree OML is going to rejam here, and Michael Busto is just going to let it go. Great shape here for Tree OML, probably much better shape than they would have thought. Still playing for that bounty. Get Over Here, happy to do so, as they are going to hold on to this one, make it straight on the river up to 14 big blinds. No bounties won here. Basically, you're not going to, if you know you're going to have ace every hand for 10 hours, by the way, you're not going to be getting it in pre. That is just bad. That surely has to be terrible. So I would never be all in. There'd be no risk of me. Anytime that I'm remotely at risk or someone puts it in, I'm just going to fold and get my next pair of aces and play that one. So I'm never going to bust. The other thing I thought was, if I show aces every hand, I might get the floor called. They might like check the deck. They might check my apparatus. We might not play a lot of hands, because if I show aces every single time in a hand, probably someone's going to have something to say about that. So I factored that in as well. So if I wanted to avoid that, I'd probably try to play in a way that didn't show down my aces very often. Add that to the fact that people don't like getting many chips in. And I don't think I would actually make that many. I think I would 2 to 3x. So I gave 150k for all these convoluted reasons. I don't know if you want to add to this, but we do have a winner, which is I Am Curly Fries, that put 95k, which is very conservative, but also winning. Thoughts?
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways you could decide to play it. And I think that trying to play it in a way where you guarantee that you don't bust is pretty interesting and pretty fair. And, you know, you get aces, as you said, the next hand, so you don't have to like fight for really, you know, pots that you think aren't great for you or go to, you know, get at risk. I do think that once your stack builds and you have players covered and a guy wants to go all in and you have 110, he wants to go on for 40, you just want to run it. But like, you know, it just depends. I think if you got up to like 150 early for some reason, think you ran pretty good, because there still is variance with the aces, of course, then you might take more risk. Right. And then just be like,
people aren't putting their chips in. I don't think there's going to be that many opportunities to make chips. I really don't.
It just depends on how aggressive your table is and who wants to, you know, things like that. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting question, and I kind of stole it from somebody else.
If you show aces every hand, the table is, if they don't call the floor, and even if they did, obviously they're not going to find anything wrong, because, you know, I'm assuming we have a healthy deck that's nothing untowards going on. So we're not going to see the floor like ban me or anything.
No.
But the players will probably stop playing hands against me.
You could do the thing where you just are, you know, basically they start to realize you have aces every hand and you just go all in pre every hand, and it should get through every time. You just pick up blinds and antes every single hand, and then it's how much does that make? Play. Yeah, correct. The blinds are obviously very low. The structure is very deep day one, which is why a lot of people make it to day two without really doing much. Yeah. But yeah, I think 150 is a fair number. And we had somebody very close to that. Well, we had somebody who won.
Not that close. Yeah, I'm Curly Fries did win. We have it all in here, and 8 big blinds more with bounties in play. I think King Jack is just going to barely make it in there.
Yeah, the 480 bounty is still in there, and the price you're getting is very good. Doing well against this hand, doing well against pairs. He does fold.
Yeah. I had a question. Mm-hmm. We have like 8 minutes till the break. I can ask this now. Just double check that nothing's going to happen here. It shouldn't. Maybe it will. Blind versus blind here, actually. Get over here. King 3 of diamonds. 13 big blinds. Not unreasonable to do some jamming, especially with the bounties in play. Gonna jam, gonna get called here. King 10 of clubs way too strong for 13 bigs blind on blind when things like this can be jamming. Am I right?
I would call.
King 10 suited here for Morgan, not for all their chips, but for the majority. Yet to call it off. Would be in great shape if they do find the call. Concerned about some good hands, obviously. But I think eventually they're probably going to get there, although the longer they take, the less confident I am of that. They're going to call. So we're looking for a 3. All running diamonds here for Get Over Here. Just stay in the game. A 3 is on the turn. Morgan will be wishing they found a fold that would have been, in this instance, incorrect. They're back down to 10 big blinds. It's been a roller coaster for them. Get Over Here back up to where they started the day at 30 big blinds. And we're still 5-handed.
Yeah, I think it's still a fine call by Morgan. You are going to be behind sometimes to some small pairs, maybe some really weak aces, and that's unfortunate. But like the hands you're behind to, you still have good equity against. And when you are ahead, you know, you can have them dominate a lot more often than they have you dominated. Your hand just does very well blind on blind. Like we talked about the King Jack before being kind of close to given positions, but the King 10 suited I think is a pretty fist pump, get the money in, and really unfortunate that they, you know, get sucked out on.
Yeah, I'm getting a few questions in the chat about the pocket nines that was folded by Michael Busto in that 3-way all-in. Well, I guess you can call it 2-way all-in because one of them was an ante. We get the jam for 20 bigs, and we get the call effectively of 12 big blinds. And after calling the open of tree, Michael then folds the nines very quickly. Your thoughts on that?
So I think Michael expected tree's range to be stronger than it really is. I think that's what it comes down to. But Tree correctly evaluated that Michael's range would be pretty capped given he didn't 3-bet in pre. So like, I just think Tree did a better job of realizing, you know, rough range analysis. And that's what then Michael did. And unfortunately for Michael as well, it's the second time I think in consecutive hands or in the same orbit, or if he makes the call, he eliminates Tree and gets the bounty. And that's really annoying when you're the player who could have knocked a player out not only once but twice. I would end up calling the nines, especially with the bounty in play and the potential of my opponent shoving in some worse combos. But I think if you had a hand like 6s or 7s, I mean, I think it's a much more reasonable fold. I just think 9s are a little too strong.
There you go, guys. If you were after some cutting edge thoughts, consider yourself cutting edged. Yeah. Again, we're going to have probably a blind on blind battle here, so I will refrain from what I was going to ask you before, as we see limp from Michael, and Simon Nuts could go either way with this one.
Did we announce a winner? I don't know if
we did. It was I Am Curly Fries. We did.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. All right, good. Blind on blind.
You did. Blind on blind, 3.5. Michael Busto won't be folding the Queen Jack suited. Certainly won't be doing any 3-betting either, limp 3-betting. So this will be just call. I would have thought to. Whoa, it's going to be a jam. I didn't think this was in the arsenal. Michael Busto has been very aggressive, to be fair. 30 big blinds and folds out the better jack. That's some great play from Michael.
Yeah, I think it's a spot where he just plans on, like, my hand's good enough to run. And you know, you can make some better hands fold like that one right there.
I wasn't expecting a break now. I thought we had 5 more minutes. That's why I was going to start talking silly nonsense. But we have 5-minute 40 break starting right now. So we will see you after said break.
Here comes 700,000 from Murciano. From what we know of Falcon, he's going to jam. Murciano absolutely snaps it off. And there is 8.9 million chips in this pot. Now ace-10 suited, facing the open of Dancy, who will not fancy playing a significant pot with Murciano. Just going to call. But in great shape. Pipping the ace-8 suited of Dancy. So we take a flop. And it does have an ace, but it also has an 8. 2 pair for Dancy. And Murciano pairs his ace and will believe there's a good chance it's ahead. Not always. Doesn't have to be a total disaster for Murciano, this one.
No, but definitely has one of the stronger hands in his range here. And versus small bet, we've seen him be aggressive before. This time decides just to call.
Three of clubs on the turn. Murciano picks up a flush draw and checks. Dancy will almost certainly bet the turn. And will need to fade a club to avoid disaster.
Yeah, definitely want to be value betting your 2 pair here. And Murciano doesn't really mind if his opponent bets. Yes, he could be behind, but he has so much equity and a very strong bluff catcher. You almost hope your opponent bets, and he gets what he might want.
550k from Dancy is big. A large bet.
He bet one big blind on the flop and now pot on the turn. He'll have about 1 million behind if called into a pot of 1.6, setting up a potential river jam. And there are a lot of rivers that Marciano wants him to jam on.
Announces call. And this is a monumental river for these players, as it's hard to imagine Dancy would be dissuaded by a club from value betting the river, depending on its nature. Murciano looking to find the backdoor nut flush to put Dancy in serious trouble. The river's the king of clubs. Murciano takes the lead with the nuts and has not checked yet.
He hasn't checked yet. Opponent does have a little over half pot behind, maybe 1.1 and a 1.7. Typically you will check here when you have the ace of clubs because you block top pair hands as well. So you want to give your opponent a chance to bluff, but he is leading at it.
He's going to lead small. Really, really small. Designed to look like a stunting bet, to encourage Dancy to believe that his hand may be best. And Dancy, faced with the opportunity to reopen the action and go for more value with his two pair. How often does he believe that Murciano leads this small with a hand this good?
You don't see it that often. You do want to have it in part of the range. Use the time bank there. Now we are at a final table, so winning the max amount of chips is not the most important thing. You do want to ladder. You do want to make more money. And so, because of the situation, you might be more inclined to call. But it is a very small
He's all
bet.
in. Murciano is going to double check the nuts and snap it off, and Dancy runs into the trap of the big Spaniard. Went for the value. You really can't blame him. Couldn't have imagined that Murciano would lead for such a small sizing with a hand like that, and must shuffle every single chip over to Murciano, who extends his chip lead even further. Dancy flopping two pair, but the backdoor flush, and he can't quite believe it. That'll do for Murciano, who will continue the pressure. And it must be somewhat frustrating for Murciano to have these two short stacks that will mostly fold. And then Falcon, who basically couldn't care less about ICM, and exhibiting that exact notion here as he 3-bets to 700,000, and Murciano with pocket threes could.
Welcome back to the main event. Nikisha here with Aaron Baroni. We are 5-handed. We have got Sime Nuts, our current chip leader, but anyone's game right now. Aaron, we've seen some good action so far. We've seen some surprising plays. We've seen some expert laddering. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, we haven't seen our chip leader be as aggressive as we've seen in weeks past, right? But Sime has still maintained that chip lead, and you know, they're still in a great position to take this whole thing down. Really, it's the shorter stacks that have battled each other. And we still have one bigger bounty in play, the 480. And our chip leader has position on the player who's, you know, second in chip. So a great spot for them. And as you said, anyone's game.
On that note, we're playing for $6,512 today, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Entries were 776. And that's a great prize. It has to be said.
Yep.
6,512. You wouldn't sniff at that. I tried to win it. I didn't. But Esteban's 12. They came 22nd, which is not first. and they won $11,200. Please explain this notion to me.
All right. So you are familiar with the envelope process, and if you're not, let me explain.
Not deeply.
There are bounty envelopes that you have the opportunity to open if you make the money phase. Now, you said you didn't make the money phase, so you didn't see them. It's actually before that, but still. And when you knock out a player, you can open one of these envelopes, and that has a various amount of money inside. And Esteban actually opened two of the biggest bounties. He had a 3,200 and an 8,000 for 11,200, which is about $11,200 more than you've ever opened in the bounties. So again, it makes sense why you're confused by it. But if you do, play this again next week and you get to the envelope opening phase, if you knock out a player, you will win some money too, and maybe it'll be the top prize.
I won a $12.50 in my home game once.
That's great. Esteban did slightly better, but you know what? It's not a competition.
Yeah, apples and oranges. So I'm not going to fold, and then we're going to get some action here because Get Over Here has got the two queens. Morgan with sub 10 with the ace jack on the button. Not going to be able to avoid this one. Michael Busto may think they're going to be involved in this hand, but they probably won't be after Morgan shoves this 9.7.
Yeah, they've been pretty passive versus all in so far. And they do fold again.
Yeah, I think this one is definitely a fold. We're going to have not a flip, and it's 7% now for Morgan, who needs to find an ace and doesn't. And Morgan, after a turbulent final table, does get a few ladders, is going to finish up with $1,580 for their troubles. But Get Over Here is going to open that bounty, and they're up to 38 big blinds. That's just about half of our chip leader right now. And there's the 480 as well, so a big, big ladder for Get Over Here, who not only ladders up to a minimum of, fourth, 2,380, but they also get the $480 bounty too. So effectively over $1,000 made there in just one hand by Get Over Here.
Yeah, really fortunate for them. Remember, they were all in against Morgan with a dominated king and was able to find their kicker to win that pot. But now Get Over Here has over $1,000 in bounties won in this tournament. Tree has 1,500. Syme also over 1,000, and Michael Busto actually the one with not that much in bounties, only about 112 coming into today. And I don't remember them getting anything.
No, that's how me and Michael roll. Like I said, we have to earn it. We don't get the setups. We only get what we earn. And unfortunately here on 9955, we will not be earning any more chips because we are indeed dead. So we're going to check fold the turn skillfully. Earn some savings there.
Yep.
And ace to the hearts as a reward. It's going to be just a raise and take it though. Guys, we are closed for our free roll this evening, but there are still things to be gleaned from it because in around 4 minutes time, we're going to be accepting your submissions to the flame out. We'll get into that very, very shortly.
Everybody except It's the Pits, I assume, will be here for the flame out.
We hope. Daisy Duke, hope all is well. Not at my best today. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything is okay, but we appreciate you popping in regardless. Get Over Here. 2 kings. 2 kings, but Jack Deuce off for treat. Probably not going to be good enough to get involved in this one. 4-handed now in the Mystery Bounty main event. And some more dross being dealt to our players usually does favor the more aggressive player, and technically the chip leader is usually the more aggressive.
They're definitely the one incentivized to be the most aggressive. And I think, chip leaders overall, as poker has evolved, have realized to be more aggressive, to lean on the other opponents and put pressure on them. And it's very easy to overdo it. But I would say if you're on the fence, if it's close, I think it's better to overdo it than underdo it. Yeah,
that does seem fair. You may run into a few things. You may make yourself look a little bit silly, but that is all part and parcel of the game. As Tree is dealt 9s, and all these players with a high card in hand, but dust to go alongside with it. Just we wondering whether anyone takes their big little and gets a little bit aggressive. But if we're looking at Tree's stack, it doesn't seem that appealing to do so. We don't have a lot of room.
Yeah, given the stack size and the position, both are reasons why Tree's going to have the tightest range of anybody at the table. So you could still use this combo, and he does use it.
They are going to use it, and it's not going to be met with call. It's not going to be met with fold. It is going to be met with all in. And I think Get Over Here, having already folded one of these earlier today, will probably just go ahead and fold this one as well. 10 more big blinds with ace-4 offsuit doesn't feel very good. Oh my word.
Wow, Tree does fold.
I thought that nines was too strong. My apologies.
I also think nines are too strong, but it does depend on your opponent. And if Tree believes that Get Over Here will just not be that aggressive, then folding would make sense. We saw, obviously, nines would have been way ahead.
I wasn't expecting fold, given that they are distinctly the least in chips. But I guess what we spoke about before the start of the hand is True will obviously shove these jacks, although I should maybe say obviously now. What we said before the start of the hand maybe fed into Tree's thinking about why they folded, because, it doesn't seem very appealing to be bluffing for that sizing versus Tree's stack. And if they're not bluffing, then nines isn't doing very well against the value hands that want to do that.
Yeah, there was a hand earlier where Get Over Here had the 3-bet with Queen Jack offsuit versus a 12 big blind under the gun open. And so if I did not see the hands at all, and I was the one in Tree spot with pocket nines, I would just know that my opponent has shown a willingness to be aggressive in spots where others might not. And that would lean me just to go with the nines. But, if for whatever reason Get Over Here had aces there, we would just be lauding the great fold from Tree.
Yeah.
So again, there is some variance in that, right? Whether your opponent has the better hand or the worse one.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether they are massively overdoing the bluffs, because if they are, it's a disaster fold, obviously. If they are not, then it could be genius. On this occasion, it does look rather bad, but that doesn't mean that it's overall bad. It just means on this occasion it was in particular bad. As we see a pair versus pair battle here. Neither player happy with the pair, but Get Over Here is going to win. They're silently creeping towards that 40 big blind mark. And as they do, we are going to open entries to our free roll flame out. If you play today's free roll and you're out, don't worry. Well, I'm sorry, first and foremost. It does happen. Happens to everybody. We want to channel that pain, suffering, fear, maybe even happiness. Who knows? You may be a masochist. We want to know from you, did you bust? Who, why, what, when, and how you feel about it? In a short anecdote in our chat. Submissions are now open. I will bring a short list to Aaron. He will choose this week's free roll flame out champion. You will be immortalized for 1 week in the chat as a reward. Let's have some entries to the flame out now. Please.
I do believe that someone got immortalized for 2 weeks.
They did. 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. Because I remember doing the one where we got back from Vegas.
Yeah. And Get Over Here decided to lead this flop. Think it's better for their range. And Michael with top. Was raising
Jamie Gold.
Mm-hmm.
You watched my vlog?
I did. I'm in it. Why would I not?
I love me.
Yeah. A great way to get me to watch your vlog, everyone out there, is just put me in it. That's going to get an extra view.
Yeah. I didn't do it for you. I did it for me.
That's fine.
Right. Aaron won't be looking at the chat because he doesn't want to have anything spoiled for him. I will be gleaning soon some of your entries, and they already look great. I really appreciate you guys. You will have another 3 or 4 minutes to get those in, so please do enter if you would like to win today's flame out. If you did play today's free roll, let us know what happened and how you feel. That would be great. Tree going to jam the ace-8 off. Michael Busto with ace-4 off for 16 big blinds. This does feel a little bit weak.
Yeah. Better aces, I think, than ace-8 will call. This is still really close versus aggressive regulars who will shove wide. But I think Michael has chosen the more passive option each time. Hasn't really gotten out of line, so I'm not surprised by the fold.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Ace-4 suited here for Tree. 10-9 suited in the big for Sime. Same suits, though, which just does not spell the best news for Sime, but it's going to be completely avoided as we see the open shove. 17.5 big blinds here from Tree. He's just going to take this one down.
Yeah, definitely the easier option. I'm a big fan of just raising. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to play flops, but I think it's kind of fun. And,
I'm quite good, so I like to play flops.
I mean, I enjoy them. I feel they're a profitable thing. But I'm kind of surprised that Tree took that, because sometimes there is an edge to be gained by avoiding those situations against other players. But I played with Tree a bit and thought they would want to use their positional advantage, but they chose just to take the pot down there.
Okay, say here from Michael Busto, who's quietly maneuvering themselves into a position where they could win easy 2 points, which is the most important thing going on here.
That is true. That is still
By
alive.
far. Remember, guys, your flameouts entries, get them into the chat. We want to hear from you. You played today's free roll and you bust it. Anything at all. Queen 9 of hearts here for Go Over, who flats in the small blind but does not get the board they were looking for. Michael Busto with enough reason to go ahead and just throw out a c-bet here and potentially win this one now. Gut shot, of course, for Go Over here, but on that 2 diamond board doesn't feel great.
No, but you are getting an amazing price here. And if Michael Busto has been more passive overall, which means you have a better chance to realize your equity here, and then you can turn hands, your hand into a bluff if needed. Now, Get Over Here actually makes the best hand. I expect it just to go check, check.
Yeah, Get Over Here does pair the 9. Doesn't seem like Michael Busto would want to be aggressive here, trying to maybe show this one down. But there is a chance. Obviously, of course, Michael could be aggressive if they want to. They have been very aggressive, mostly pre-flop, but they have been aggressive in general this evening on this FT. And I wonder whether Get Over Here, they probably don't value bet here ever, but if they were to throw out a bet, Michael would have a pretty reasonable hand to turn to a bluff. But as it is, they may just check back here and try to win. Wow. This must be a bluff from Get Over Here.
Yeah. I think both players were thinking about bluffing this river. Both have showdown, but both were just like, well, my hand might not be strong enough to actually win at showdown. And Michael does have the nut flush blocker, does block 2 pair, and he goes for it.
They go for it. I mean, I've said it before, Aaron, and I will say it again. This is what we have to do to win chip. Michael, beautiful play once more, finds the bluff with the ace of diamonds. Pretty creative stuff as well from Get Over Here, who correctly, well, maybe not correctly identified, but in their range, a 9 wasn't doing that well against the check portion of Michael, who just has a lot of Jack X that they wanted to fold out, and they thought that 6.8 could get the job done. But Michael just too good.
I think even if Get Over Here has a hand there like King Queen, or maybe even King Jack, when you face the shove there, especially because Michael hasn't shown that sort of like post-flop aggression, it actually might get Over Here to fold a lot of better hands than, even just middle pair.
Just a call this time from Michael Busto, who does flop the best hand. We have seen them be quite aggressive from the small blind. This time they decided not to shove the Jack-10 suited. Decided to flop instead. And they do have the best hand. Tree may believe that they indeed have the best hand here. But that is not the case, and they're going to need a lot of help here if they're going to improve. Even the 8 of hearts would be a card that Michael would be very interested in. It's going to be a small stab. Michael with the option to check raise if they'd like. Also could call, but maybe concerned about overcards rolling off on the turn. Obviously not a jack, but there are some cards that Michael doesn't want to see, and their hand doesn't really get loads better than this very often. So they're going to raise now, and happy to obviously get this one in if they are asked to, but they won't be by pocket 8s.
It's tough for Tree because you want your opponent to have bluffs, and a lot of those might come from hands that you block, like 8-7 or 8-9, suited that flat out of the small blind. Really good fold from Tree.
Mm-hmm. And with our flameouts closed, Aaron, I am going to go deep into the tank, make a shortlist for you, whilst you bring everybody our 4-handed action.
Perfect. So we have Michael Busto opening the button here with 10-9. Get Over Here, one of our 2 short stacks. Players now guaranteed 2380. Again, playing for 65-12. And Simon opening the button here with the 10-9. A spot where Tree could decide just to shove this in. And that's what he does. Now, we know he has the best hand, but there are times he'll be up against a hand like a weak ace, or even maybe a king 10 offsuit, and your opponent might not call shoves, especially with the bigger bounties already out of play. And now get over here with the ace king. Another button open, presumably coming. Just a shove.
Wait, what?
Just a shove from get over here.
Sorry, Aaron. Sorry.
That's okay.
Must be really hard to do your job when I'm out here giggling.
That's fine. I thought the what could be related to the reasoning of why he shoved and not raised.
No. I wasn't paying attention to that. Don't worry.
That's fine. I mean, and now Tree opening the ace 8 up against two pretty terrible hands in the blinds. And we'll just get it through. A blind on blind confrontation here. I'm just going to rip it. We've seen that a lot recently now. A lot of people just jamming the 15, 18 big blinds effective rather than opening it.
All right. We've got 5 entries for today's Flame Out. Guys, if you did enter and you didn't get into the shortlist, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate you entering very, very much, and I hope to enter again. It's just I have to choose some. And I do try to include as many people as possible. But it's tough out there. You know, this is difficult. And I don't like to leave anyone out, but we'll be here all night if I don't. So, Aaron, are you ready for this week's?
I'm ready.
Flame Outs. Let's go. Okay. Blind versus blind. I looked down at Queen 9 club and saw unlimited potential. Then I looked down at King King and saw reality. Run AK less than AQ. And when you short, finally you have a chance with JJ, but run it under QQ. Is it qualifiable as a flame out? Next up. Not out today yet, but very often with the right decision, yet still out.
I don't know what. All right, that one, we're going to table that one.
You're tabling that one?
I want to come back to it.
Okay, right. Sure, no problem. Next up. 690, top pair on the flop, guy shoves it. Why do I call that? Why does he have pocket nines? Am I a den egg?
I have so many questions.
All right, next up, as we see a hand here, Simon's going to take down. Last this week, this one's really good as well, actually. Busted, but had hope until the... Busted, but had hope until the end with my 2.8 big blinds in a 6-way pot. Unfortunately, someone slow played the kings. So sad.
That one is surprisingly good. Can I get back to the
better. It gets better
when you... more?
No. As in, like, when I read it back again, I was like, it's just it. Got 2.8 big blinds and someone's slow playing.
They trapped you, you know? If they just...
six ways. Slow play. Right, you want to hear that one again? Not out today yet. Please. Yeah, not out today yet. But very often with the right decision, yet still out.
I just...
How can people not like this game?
Okay. I'm going to go with the king slow play.
Okay, sure.
But that other one is so great. Like, it's very close.
What about 690 top pair on the flop guy shoves it? Why do I call that? Why does he have pocket nines? And am I a den egg?
Yeah, that's also good. It was a great list of submissions. All three of them I think could have won.
They were fantastic. I nearly stopped there, but oh my god, I'm in tears. I love this game, man. So today's free roll flame out champion is Fox Force 42. Congratulations, Fox Force. Thank you so much for playing. You have won with Busted, but had hope until the end with my 2.8 big blinds in a 6-way pot. Unfortunately, someone slow played the kings. So sad. That is today's free roll flame out, and it is a very worthy champion. Congratulations, Fox442.
And here, Michael Busto
has a straight. Yes, no, Michael has top pair. Sorry, I'm back. Straight. Oh, snap
just
fold.
Folds the end, just quickly folds.
And again, Aaron, let me tell you, this is what we have to do. Me and Michael, kindred spirits. Now, is this avoidable? I don't know. Tree opens it up with Jack 10 suited. Michael, pocket nines. Folded them earlier on. Do they go with them this time? And in what form?
I assume he'll be 3-betting this. He does do that. The question now is if Syme puts more pressure on this pot, what do you do with the nines now?
Yeah, Syme here with an opportunity to be aggressive if they want to. This is the kind of hand that you could put in a very fruity 4-bet with and look to put pressure on Michael, assuming that Tree folds, of course, which they can't guarantee, and therefore they do let it go. Tough spot for Tree. 2.2 to call, only 14 back, though. What do you do here?
I think given how Michael has been tighter with his 3-bet range, and we've seen him just flat a lot, I think that it's a good spot for Tree to just fold. Yeah. I think it's really player dependent, right? If it was Get Over Here, who we've seen be aggressive, or if it was your chip leader who is capable of being aggressive, then it's different, but a little bit of a playing the player spot. But unfortunately for Tree, might just get cooler right here.
Yeah, Tree with King Jack, and they've tried their best to preserve their stack to this point, and they are within touching distance of Get Over Here, but that may be not long for this world as Queens call it off, and that is a very unhelpful looking board. Needs to be a king for Tree on the river. It is not a king. They pair the Jack. That won't be good enough to beat the Queens. A good game thrown out there by Get Over Here as Tree takes 4th place, $2,380, and we are 3-handed, and we might be here a while, you know.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for Tree. Did make a good fold there with the Jack 10 suited and versus range anyway. But, you know, got to ladder up, got 4th, made some bounties. All in all, pretty good tournament.
Yeah, very solid for them and did better than some of us that put 5 bullets in. So,
yeah,
you know, you have to really take the rough with the smooth. Smokies, I don't know what's funnier, the flame outs or Nick trying to keep a straight face and reading the ones he likes. It's all part of it. It is difficult though, guys. Like for some reason, I mean, me and Aaron have a very, very similar sense of humor, which is why we get on quite well. Some of these are tough to read. They really are. They're really difficult, and I really appreciate everyone that puts their effort and time into submitting them because they actually do genuinely make my day. Genuinely.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys playing. I'm glad 99% of you enjoy it, and it actually makes me happy that 1% of you don't.
Yeah, it kind of adds to it as well. Like it's like a segment within a segment. Call here from Cybernuts in the small blind with Queen 10 suited. Noodaloo asking me for my pick. Well, I've already picked. I picked before the game, and I picked Michael Busto, who hasn't had a lot to work with, but boy, has he worked with it.
He has, and right here, he does have the best hand against 2 overs and a flush draw.
Yeah, definitely the best hand. Not exactly the best of best hands you can have, but it's in the lead. And a king turn will favour Michael Busto. I don't know if they'll definitely bet, though, because ace high is the hand that can kind of show down. And Steinnuts, understanding that there's a lot of ace high in range, is going to try and take this one away on the turn.
Yeah, we'll see if it works. Again, Michael's been more passive, which can... Yeah.
Post.
Yes, correct.
Michael's been playing well, I think. Steinnuts, obviously been very solid. Came in with a chip lead, still have the chip lead, and they've used it well. It is an advantage.
And, you know, just to further glaze Michael, he's at the toughest seat all day, right? Being to the right of the chip leader, trying to avoid, you know, basically getting picked on as he became a middle stack really quickly. And he's navigated that really well.
Yep. Queen 8 here for Cybernuts, and is going to flop top and bottom pair, get over here with backdoor flush draw. And I guess a backdoor straight draw, but that probably won't be at the forefront of their thinking. For completeness sake, I will mention it as we see a 2/3 pot bet. You know I like these. I know that you don't.
Yeah, I think the shallower you get, the smaller your bet sizes probably should be. but it is a very wet board, and that's why he picks that size. And now, yes, he's turned a pair, but it's a hand you could consider still barreling with, and that you block 2 pair. And so if you're going to pick out some bluffs, blocking 2 pair is somewhat important. And this is the weakest, sort of hand you're going to have that would block 2 pair.
I know part of your problem with this sizing is that too few hands continue, and therefore your bluffs don't work as often on the turn.
Correct.
So maybe that featuring into get over here's thinking as they check back and Time Nuts makes a boat on the river. Now, do they want to go for a check? We know that will probably be met with check from get over here. It's going to be a block. So I'm not understanding there's not a lot of hands that can actually call, given that most of them are in our hand.
Yeah, I think it's a great size by them, actually. Just you want to balance your blocks with some really strong hands and get over here. There are some draws at brick, and he does get value.
Yeah. Well played there from Nuts, who gets probably the max out of that one. The max probably would have been if get over here had turned their 6 into a bluff. It's definitely plausible. We've seen more interesting things than that today already. But Nuts again, stretching that lead just a little bit more. Get over here, falling back down below 20 bigs. Still comfortable enough, but Nuts now, with the opportunity 3-handed to be aggressive in more moments, having such a significant lead and being on the left of Michael Busto's second in chips.
Yeah, really great spot for them. They did get 60th in this main event last month. Obviously, I've already improved on that. Huge chip leader here. And, this is their moment so far.
Would you rather come 60th in the main event or 65th?
It's 62nd got paid more money. I know that.
Yeah, I know
that
as
on
well.
a ladder. I just had a dinner at my in-laws' house, and they've now named me Mr. Jackpot after watching me on TV. They're like, "Hey, it's Mr. Jackpot," which again, I don't know if that means that they're proud or if they think I was very lucky, but
could be
I'll
both.
take it. It probably is both.
Would you say you were very lucky? This is a fun question. No? Didn't win a flip on day 2, same time I bust.
I did well. I mean, yeah, I did win a flip. That is true.
Yeah.
That is very lucky for me.
That sounds lucky to
flips,
me, man.
actually.
Yeah, I know. You rivered one of them. Turned the other. Some would say lucky, man.
I mean,
especially when it's the difference between $0 and $125,000.
Yeah, there was also a difference between like 60,000 and 125.
Yeah,
as well.
So I mean, lucky, definitely one of the words that people could use. I would say,
I
Mr.
wouldn't
Jackpot.
say I was unlucky, but I wouldn't say I was lucky. But again, compared to you, yes, it was lucky.
Compared to me, everything is lucky.
Exactly. So Michael now has a hand that, most likely is going to check. I think you could bet that for value when your opponent checks back turn, but totally fine.
There's already a little bit of money in there. Maybe if it was a less action previously, they would be more inclined to go for a bet. So I'm not here wondering whether a deuce is even strong enough to check back here.
Yeah, I don't know if a bet's going to work very well, though, on this run out. When he checks back the turn, and he just says check it, yeah,
check, and Michael picks up 10 big blinds and get over here now 20 big blinds short of Michael in third place currently.
And that might be part of the reason, too, you want to be a little more passive and not value bet too much there, is that you get to extend your chip lead over the third place stack. And again, every finish position is an extra ladder. They are guaranteed $3,500 each, but it's a $1,340 ladder between second and third.
Yep, get over here with 7-6 suited and 3s against ace-9. The only saving grace being they go over here does exist with 15 big blinds behind, so you won't see Michael get too out of line, I don't think, in the form of the limp 3-bet jam that they did before, but it is setting up for it. I'd be surprised.
It's a reasonable hand to use, especially versus more aggressive players.
Wow, Michael just does it, man. Like, Michael, they haven't had like a hand where they haven't earned it, It's been full of earning. You got something to say?
No.
Mr. Jackpot?
They're doing great. He's doing a great job. And, I like the limp jam there. Again, your chip leader is going to be more aggressive than usual. You get to push out the equity. And, I mean, even when he's up against a hand like ace 9 we just saw there, which is a pretty good hand. The hand just folds. So, ends up being a pretty good spot for them. Looks like they're playing for the win and not for the ladder. And that's, also very reasonable.
Absolutely it is. Pocket fours here, small blind. Probably something you'd rather be doing the aggression with rather than the calling. Just therefore going to let it go. A6 is going to get one through. And Moss Shark, a fan of AK's behavior in this final table because they've made it to the cash with no bigs from the free roll.
Nice.
No bigs.
It's very impressive. It's hard
Don't
to
even
do.
know how. Maybe it says not big, no bigs, like that pot with loads of chips in it. I hope you got as many chips as that 0 big blind side pot. So I'm not seeing it open. King 4 spades. It does get a lot more bitty in the latter stages of the tournament when you have to widen those ranges. There's a lot more rubbish in your range. There's a lot more less good hands post flop that you have to work with. So definitely a lot more to analyze in that sense. No cooler versus cooler only. As people wait to ladder, this is the business end, and 7 high not quite good enough, and Simonot's going to take another one down here with that backdoor flush draw over card. That's good enough for that pot.
Yeah, and as you're playing more hands that have basically less value to them, and you're basically having these heads up or 300 pots where you both have a little piece instead of obviously stronger holdings, it does favor the more aggressive player, the one who's going to put pressure on that pot and try to stab at it. And that's usually why the chip leader is able to chip up in these situations at the expense of the middle stacks.
Yeah, a bit of future EV as well for Michael, who has limp jammed twice with hands that we consider aggressive, if definitely passable and good, but aggressive we don't see often. Gives him a little bit more in the way of limp ability, I would say, because it means that Simenuts is going to be a little bit more careful with isolating those limps, knowing that it's in the arsenal of Michael to go for the jam. And this is another opportunity to be aggressive. It's a very different spot, and I think that Michael, again, timing beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to decide chip leader's been aggressive. He's being aggressive again. I'm going to go with my suited ace. And we both know a certain 8-8 poker ambassador who would have gone with that suited ace.
I was about to say. Yeah. It's just automatic 4-bet jam. Unfortunately, not on this occasion. Michael just going to defend the ace-9. I think they're navigating this very, very well.
Yeah.
They're playing some very, very good stuff. Understanding the ranges, understanding the 3-bet range is going to be a lot tighter than the
ISO range.
ISO range blind versus blind. And able to attack one and not the other, I think is very, very good stuff.
Yeah, and as Michael extends his chip lead from get over here, he actually has less incentive to try to battle these spots because he's more secure in second place.
Yep, and this one's going to be chopped, barring some very peculiar circumstances. I believe that both players will think that ace high on this double paired board would be good enough to go for check. Simenuts, though, hasn't checked yet. Would be a strange one.
It would be. You wonder if you can actually make a better hand fold by betting this. Can you make it 10-fold?
Or can they get called by worse? Yeah, maybe king, queen. We'll see. Do they get folds from chops? Do they get calls from worse? It's a bit of a merge.
Yeah, it's interesting here. Michael just doesn't expect him to have a worse hand for value there. And it's hard to bluff that spot. So I think a fold makes a lot of sense. And Simon gets them off a chop.
I wonder whether Simon was actively looking to get them off a chop. It's an interesting one. We won't know. We'll never know, in fact, unless they pop into the chat. And even then we might not know because they could lie to us.
They could.
Because some people lie.
It's bluffing.
Yeah, sorry. Bluffing. Faking. I remember that someone said they were faking a flush. We're going to get all in the call here. And an ace in the window for Get Over here. He's going to take the lead 5% of the time. We will be heads up. This is one of the 95. As Get Over here is going to get the full double, Michael will not enjoy that very much and will be bemoaning how hard they've had to work for their chips compared to Get Over here, who just wins a lucky hand. Team Michael.
Sometimes that's all it takes. I would rather be team Get Over here and just win the lucky hands.
Yeah. I'm actually not good enough to do what Michael's doing, to be completely fair. I'm doing him a disservice by comparing myself to them. Get open jam there by Simenuts, by the way. Queen 10 of hearts, 25-ish. 25-ish effective. Make of that.
I see a lot of that more in higher stakes final tables where the pay jumps are so big where people I think are going to get closer, play closer to what theory says. What I will say about that is that a lot of shoves like are chip EV profitable, but there are other things you can do that might be more profitable. But I know a lot of people are just fan of doing things that are just, is it profitable? Is it not? I'll just click the button that makes money.
Clicking the button that makes money is popular as a strategy.
Rather than one that doesn't make money, right? Like if your choices are 2 buttons, then sure. But usually in poker, you have more options than that. And I think it's such a pretty hand. Like I just want to shove it in for 26 bigs. Blah.
Yeah. Talking about clicking the buttons that make people money, we have a keyword for you.
Oh.
$109 ticket is going to be available after Simnuts folds this King 5 offsuit. If you would like to win a $109 ticket and you don't like playing silly games where you have to get into one of our heads to figure out what the answer is to very convoluted and difficult questions, it's your lucky day because we have just a keyword for you. And that keyword is a shameless plug, no less. You think I'm going to give you it for free? Not a chance. The keyword today is vlog. Why is it vlog? Don't just write vlog and forget why you've written vlog. I know 95% of you are going to do that, but vlog, because I made a vlog of my experience in day one, as we were speaking earlier, of the main event. Aaron alluded to it earlier. Aaron features very heavily. If you're an Aaron fan, you probably are if you're here, or at least you tolerate him. Tolerate him further by going to watch my vlog. There will be a link in the chat. If you go in there and you've come from this stream, drop a comment. I will reply to every comment. Drop a comment in there, say you came from there, and watch it after our stream today. It took a lot of effort from myself and the editor. I think it's really good stuff. So check it out and let me know what you think of it. And hopefully one of you guys can win a $109 ticket as a result. And by the way, if you do win a $109 ticket as a result, comment that on the video, because that seems like the very littlest price you could pay.
Yeah, if you don't win the 109 ticket, also make sure to comment that on the video.
yeah, that would help a lot too.
Yeah, that's a lot more comments that way.
Appreciate everyone that tunes into that. Very proud of the product we were able to make. And we do have a day 2 coming as well, which will be even more fervorous. Trust me. And it will have more Aaron.
I am in that one too. Simnuts here with the 5 facing 3-bet. Does just 4-bet rip it in?
Yeah, here we go. It's going to need to be a 5 or a 3 now for Simnuts. Could get us heads up here 86% of the time. That will not happen as Get Over Here now from the very depths of 3rd place. Now rears their head over everyone else on 54 big blinds. Chip leader, and that's how quick things can change on final tables.
And it's the first time all day where Simnuts has not been our chip leader.
Yeah.
And so a lot more pressure on them now because it's smooth sailing until it isn't, right? And a lot of, I think, players, are defined by how well they play, how well they think when things aren't going their way. Yeah.
And from a position where we could have been, massive chip lead for Simnuts heads up, we are in a very, very different situation here as Get Over Here is now in a comfortable lead, and a lead in this hand, but not a comfortable one, as Simnuts has the flush draw and 2 overcards. Those 2 overcards, though, not super, super relevant unless we check down, because obviously Simnuts is not going to believe that they're good that often versus continued aggression. Here comes Bet from Get Over Here, is now looking to take the mantle of chip leader, as we have seen Simnuts do so effectively over the last couple hours, and try to win this pot. There's one of those overcards, so we'll see if what I said does come to fruition here, because pair of 8s is the best hand right now. Go over here with a pair from flop, but a pretty weak hand that you could consider bluffing, and now Simnuts with the best hand and check would win them the pot.
Yeah, and both players have enough showdown where it might go check. If Get Over Here bets, you kind of wonder, what are you folding out?
Yeah, maybe something like exactly this, pocket 3s. Hard to imagine. So they are going to check, and I'm going to be made to look very silly for ruling out those overs.
They do matter. It did help in that spot. I think if Get Over Here has a hand like 5-3 instead of 5 deuce, we're talking about something totally different. They certainly would put more pressure and try to win that pot.
We have a winner, and it's Player Quiller. Player Quiller, congratulations. You have won the $109 ticket away for putting vlog in the chat. Now do your very best to go and comment on the video and tell me that you won, because that was the agreed price beforehand. I think we got that on video.
Yeah, and I we troll each other quite a bit, but I do think the vlog is very, very good quality. I really like it. And I don't like a lot of vlogs, and I'm kind of hoping that in the future, A Late Poker just commissions you to follow me around, so I don't have to do my own inferior version of the vlog.
I pretty much did, by the way.
And that's why it's so great.
Yeah, we did some stuff for my vlog with Aaron. We did some stuff for Ace State Poker's documentary that will be coming very, very soon. First episode of which will be in, I believe, the next couple of weeks. Early August was earmarked. And given the highly professional nature of the people that I know are responsible for creating it, I expect to see it on time. So keep an eye on the Ace State Poker TV YouTube channel for that documentary, because it will be quite the watch. It's got all your favorites in it and Ian Simpson. So make sure that you tune in.
It is, if you guys were following it on social media, not all the ambassadors made deep runs. And so, you will see a variety of run length from your favorite ambassadors.
Yes.
And I am
Big
also
variety.
very excited for it. Yeah.
We may have an all-in and a call here. It's very significant potential for that, although 9-7 offsuit going for the open. I mean, this could cement it even. Get over here with King Jack suited. A very, very strong hand, three-handed, but it's not as good as Ace Queen offsuit. I am reliably informed. And that is what Michael Busto is lurking behind with in the big blind with a very clear shove, I would have thought now. And I think that while King Jack suited is very, very strong, it may not be looking to put the money in here in this situation.
Yeah, again, the biggest bounties are now gone. There is a 200, but the pay jumps are worth more than that. So this hand's pretty close. I think you just end up folding. Again, very player dependent, but if Get Over Here had gone for a 3-bet, he'd be priced in, and by just calling, he's able to get out of the way.
Yeah, King 10 offsuit here for Michael. King X as well for Sime Nuts, not as good, but suited. 22 effective in this one, and Michael's going to continue to be very aggressive pre-flop and go for the open shove.
Yeah, all three players pretty close together. One pot could obviously change our chip leader. If Michael doubles through Get Over Here, he becomes the chip leader.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can win this one for sure. We were probably as close as we've been in stack sizes right now.
Yeah.
Over the course of the day. So, definitely wouldn't surprise me if any of these people won. And I'm completely unbiased in saying that I really hope that it's Michael, because that would mean I win this week's player picks and claw it back just a little bit. Do you know what the score is? We should have a command for this.
I believe it was like 14-11, and then I got a point or two. So
Was it a point or was it 2?
You score so many, you lose track.
15-11, guys. It's 15-11. So this would be a pretty big win.
Should be huge.
15-12 is guaranteed, but is there a 15-11? Can we get a 15-11? We have a very large pot here, 15 big blinds already in there, and both players have whiffed this flop on 6-5 deuce rainbow. King 8 offsuit here for Get Over Here, went for the aggressive 3-bet as our chip leader. Sime Nuts, of course, defended the King Queen offsuit, and here comes 4.2 big blinds. Pretty ugly spot for Sime Nuts.
Yeah, no backdoors. Still do have 2 overs and a good price, but expect a lot of players to fold here, even though you're getting that price, and that's what he does.
Go Here will absolutely love that, by the way. That's got to be one of the best feelings in the game.
Yeah.
C-betting King 8 offsuit on that board and getting fold from what you can only assume would be a lot of very strong hands, at least hands that are better than yours. So it's got to feel great, because now you're in a situation where you're 2x everyone else's stack, and here comes Jack 8-7, both players connecting pretty significantly for a 3-handed game with this board.
Yeah, Sime Nuts with the second pair and gut shot straight draw won't be folding for almost any size, especially not that one.
Yeah, definitely a call here. Deuce on the turn is so dry. Sime Nuts definitely won't be able to fold this turn, barring a very sick read. And we know that value bet is coming here from Get Over Here. They get to be very aggressive, because they expect not to be bullied very often as the chip lead, but they do get to be aggressive. And top, Jamie Gold for Get Over Here is going to bet 6.1, sizing for a clean river shove on certain boards. Simenuts here won't love 6.1, by the way. That is a big bet for their hand, but they do have to call. King on the river won't be a card that either player loves. About 2/3 pot back for both players. Or 80% pot, I should say. Does Get Over Here manage to find another value bet on this river? How often does Simenuts have a king? Here comes the value jam. Absolutely fantastic heads-up play here, realizing that Simenuts' range is comprised of a lot of these type of hands. Does Simenuts try to sniff this one out and go for call?
It's a spot where you are going to unblock some bluffs, some spade flush draws. You know the chip leader is going to be aggressive. He has been aggressive. But he does makes a really good fold. I think disciplined. Yeah, it's very easy just to call off there. Just knowing how aggressive that Get Over Here has been, just from the last hand we just saw. So a great fold by Simenuts.
I think the operative thing there was the shove from Get Over Here, the triple off. Even though the king came on the river, it can be very tempting to be emotional about that king river and just immediately check back and just hope it's good. But Get Over Here understanding that their hand is best so often that they do still get to shove despite the overcard coming off.
Yeah, and if Get Over Here is going to be very aggressive with bluffs in that spot on that sort of a run out, you do need to be value betting hands other than just, the king. So great recognition by them to extend their value range a little bit, knowing they're going to be bluffing.
Not just extending their value range, they're extending their chip lead in this final table, and they're beginning to win quite a few hands, a concerning amount of hands for our other two players here. 62 big blinds now, and every pot that you win means that it's less damaging when you inevitably are all in and putting someone at risk. You can still maintain that chip lead, for example, if you both players losing an all in to either of them would maintain the chip lead. Obviously a more precarious one if they were to lose to Michael Busto, but it looks like they understand, maybe even better than Simenuts did, who was doing a great job, how to exploit this chip lead.
Yeah, they've just been very aggressive, and I'd say they have better timing than Simenuts as well, which is really important. Except here they have Jack high up against nines. Not a turn Simenuts loves to see, but
part of timing would be to potentially give this one up, but not to say that significant aggression wouldn't work here. I mean, this is incredibly out there, but there are ladders in play. Get Over Here has now seen a king on the river. They have been aggressive on flop and turn. There is about 90% pot back. And when you've got Jack 7 high, Aaron, can't win the pot very often when you check. I expect to see this followed through.
Yeah, I think usually you're going to follow through a lot. They might not, given they just had a similar triple spot. Yeah, they decided to check it back. A little bit of meta game there in the check back.
Yeah, and Simenuts would be absolutely relieved not to see all in and have to think about whether to call that one off, because it wouldn't have been a very comfortable one. But now both the third and second in chips are evening themselves out, and we could be moments away from a collision as we approach our second break of the day. Michael Busto, King Queen here. We'll be hoping for more of that aggression from Get Over Here that they've been relentless with since taking the chip lead. An 8-6 offsuit, a further example of that. And we get a jam here from Michael that has been their remit. They've been taking a lot of those hands and shoving with them pre-flop rather than playing post.
Yeah, and by doing that, they do get a chip lead over the third place stack. A little more comfortable. Just a decision of, do you want to, basically play post and have a greater chance of busting there, but a greater chance also of accumulating chips, or do you want to prioritize survival? And, it's very, very player dependent, ICM dependent. And sometimes when you feel like you're not winning any pots at all, or the player has some sort of white magic over you, just seems you can't beat them in a pot, you take the more aggressive route. And other times when you feel you got to really, you have their number, you'll flat more and try to play pots in position.
Yeah, and it's the great leveler aggression. Being all in. Hard to outplay someone that's all in.
Yeah, I don't know a way to do it. No. Other than like live reads. I've heard live reads are a thing.
Yeah. Did you experiment with any live reads?
Yeah, I almost called the guy thinking he was bluffing, and he turns out he was bluffing with a better hand. So it was good that I did not call him.
Yeah, that's usually you start with that and then move on to the live reads. Do I lose to bluffs? Okay, no, I don't want to think about this one.
I had the nut, no pair.
Yes, but if they can bluff with a pair,
They did.
then it's very bad
exactly
for
what
us.
they did.
We are still free-handed. Sign nuts again being chipped away at to 16 big blinds. We're very short on like coolers since we went to three-handed. There's not been really. I mean, no one's even had like ace queen offsuit is the best hand we have seen.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of good hand versus good hand. I mean, second pair, top pair is the closest we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, and even that was second pair, third pair by the river.
Mm-hmm.
So again, both players whiffing on 9-6-4 here. The best we can say is that overcards with a heart, and that has been realised on the turn for Michael Busto, who makes a pair of queens. Queen 9-6-4 here, a very, very good board for our opener, who will now look to value bet, but I don't think they'll be squeezing much value out of ace-5 offsuit on this particular board.
Yeah, especially versus the larger sizing. You know, maybe you could have a king jack or a king 10 or a jack 10. A lot of those hands might just stab flop. And ace 5, not the greatest one to continue with.
No. As the button moves once more. And we still await our heads up match. Ace deuce offsuit here for get over here. Who's going to open up to 3 big blinds. Deciding not to do the ultimate aggression of all in. Happy with the smaller pot. Seems to be winning quite a few of those, so he's going to keep at it for now. 3 more incredibly mediocre to terrible hands.
Yeah, and again, get over here, definitely putting pressure. Had the best hand there, but I don't think that was the reason why they opened. They're going to be raising a lot of buttons. And, well, Michael with aces.
Picking up the aces. Sign nuts here with a hand that could jam. That's for sure. King jack offsuit versus a button open. Very, very reasonable here to put your last 14 or so big blinds in.
Wow.
Doesn't do so. Manages to fade it.
Wow.
That is a great fold. Or a bad fold gone right. I'm not sure what to make of it.
That is surprising given that we are three-handed. And it's not like Michael will open the button with, you know, a lot worse hands. But great fold by Sime Nuts.
Yeah, managed to avoid the catastrophe there. Ace King is a significant upgrade on the King Jack, of course. Ace 3 offsuit for Michael Busto, who is just going to call in the big blind. And oh no. Ace 3-9. That should be all she wrote for somebody. Sime Nuts obviously in direct danger. Michael will have half their stack involved here. There's no way of avoiding this one. I don't think there's that many runouts. Maybe a 9 on the turn. Not even a club would do anything to dissuade the all-in here because both players have a very strong club. Michael with the best club. And now it's looking pretty bad for Sime Nuts to be getting away from this one with any chips.
Yeah, and Michael does lead the turn here. Sime Nuts top pair, top kicker, second nut flush draw. Hatfield pretty comfortable, does go for a call. Well,
A 5 of diamonds on the river. I mean, we're not expecting to see loads of deuce X in Sime Nuts opening range on the button. But Michael can have some deuce X. Michael can have some flushes. And they're going to go all in. And now Michael is saying, I have a better hand than one pair.
yeah,
And
it's
Sime Nuts has
tough
folded some hands.
yeah, it's tough for Michael to have that many bluffs here. We haven't seen him bluff that much, but he has had some really big pots against Sime Nuts blind on blind. So we'll see if Sime wants to call down here. Does have a flush blocker.
Pure bluff catcher, though. How important is that? Sime Nuts has made some folds, some great ones so far. Can they make another one to keep their tournament life alive for now? It looks like they may get towards timing out here. They can't make a decision. It looks like they're going to let it go. Sitting out because they couldn't make their mind up in time, and it's a good job for them they didn't, because it would have cost them their tournament. Now they're still in it. Only 8 big blinds left. We'll see if they can spin it up in 4 minutes 40 seconds. See you then.
Here comes 700,000 from Murciano, and from what we know of Falcon, he's going to jam. Murciano absolutely snaps it off, and there is 8.9 million chips in this pot. Now ace-10 suited, facing the open of Dancy, who will not fancy playing a significant pot with Murciano. Just going to call. But in great shape. Pipping the ace-8 suited of Dancy. So we take a flop. And it does have an ace, but it also has an 8. 2 pair for Dancy. And Murciano pairs his ace and will believe there's a good chance it's ahead. Not always. Doesn't have to be a total disaster for Murciano, this one.
No, but definitely has one of the stronger hands in his range here. And versus small bet, we've seen him be aggressive before. This time decides just to call.
Three of clubs on the turn. Murciano picks up a flush draw and checks. Dancy will almost certainly bet the turn. And will need to fade a club to avoid disaster.
Yeah, definitely want to be value betting your 2 pair here. And Murciano doesn't really mind if his opponent bets. Yes, he could be behind, but he has so much equity and a very strong bluff catcher. You almost hope your opponent bets. And he gets what he might want.
550k from Dancy is big. A large bet.
He bet 1 big blind on the flop and now pot on the turn. He'll have about 1 million behind if called into a pot of 1.6, setting up a potential river jam. And there are a lot of rivers that Murciano wants him to jam on.
Announces call. And this is a monumental river for these players, as it's hard to imagine Dancy would be dissuaded by a club from value betting the river, depending on its nature. Murciano looking to find the backdoor nut flush to put Dancy in serious trouble. The river's the king of clubs. Murciano takes the lead with the nuts and has not checked yet.
He hasn't checked yet. Opponent does have a little over half pot behind, maybe 1.1 and a 1.7. Typically you will check here when you have the ace of clubs because you block top pair hands as well. So you want to give your opponent a chance to bluff, but he is leading at it.
He's going to lead small. Really, really small. Designed to look like a stunting bet, to encourage Dancy to believe that his hand may be best. And Dancy, faced with the opportunity to reopen the action and go for more value with his 2 pair. How often does he believe that Murciano leads this small with a hand this good?
You don't see it that often. You do want to have it in part of the range. Use the time bank there. Now we are at a final table, so winning the max amount of chips is not the most important thing. You do want to ladder. You do want to make more money. And so because of the situation, you might be more inclined to call. But it is a very small
He's all
bet.
in. Murciano is going to double check the nuts and snap it off, and Dancy runs into the trap of the big Spaniard.
Welcome back to the main event. We're still 3-handed. I'm still here, thankfully, with Aaron Baroni, breaking down some very interesting and difficult spots that are way over my head.
Yeah, I feel really bad for Sime Nuts, who pretty much has just ran into it quite a few times here and continue to make great folds. And they're not going to know how great they are until they watch the stream back, hopefully. But perhaps now rewarded with a much better hand and a chance to double up.
Yeah, definitely a chance to double it here, as we know that Michael will not be able to fold the Queen 9 suited. No chance at all. A 3-bet jam, obviously, from Sime Nuts, and now in great shape to double up to 13 big blinds. That flop no good for Michael Busto, who must find a queen to knock them off and go heads up, but they do not. Pairing the 9, not enough. Sign nuts back up to 14, as you were.
Yeah, just Sime Nuts has, sometimes you feel like you're, getting exploited and your opponent's just crushing you, when in fact they just have a better hand, and normally you can't figure it out. Obviously on the stream replay they can watch and they can see they just made the correct fold every time, and if they didn't, if they made the wrong play once, they wouldn't be here. So still a good chance for them. And even though they came in as chip leader and they're here with the shortest stack, definitely doubled than they had a second ago, and anyone's game.
Yep, anyone's game indeed. We've said that multiple times. It's very true. Get over here, obviously, with the best of it, and now getting jammed on with the King Jack. And it's super interesting. Obviously, the chip lead opening the button is a little bit different than the non-chip leader opening the button, but still does shove that King Jack from the big blind when they didn't shove the King Jack from the small blind before. What's different enough to make that a shove and the other one not?
I think the difference really is what you expect their opening ranges to look like, where the shorter second place stack is going to have a lot fewer 7-5 offsuits, right, compared to the chip leader who might just open close to deck. So I think it's really just your idea of what their range looks like. And perhaps he just thought Michael was on the tight side and Get Over Here was on the aggressive side.
Okay. As we see this turn, and it looks like Get Over Here won't be involved, we're going to do our last thinks of the day. Aaron.
Okay.
You're going to be doing the thinking. Guys, if you haven't played before and you weren't here earlier, I'm going to ask Aaron a question. Aaron, to the best of his abilities, will be trying to answer that question. And if you get closest to what he thinks the answer is, you will win a $109 ticket. It is really that easy. Don't answer twice. You'll be disqualified. If someone has already taken your answer, you may answer one more time. Aaron, are you ready for the question, or would you like to have a look at this river?
I want to see if Get Over Here is going to bluff a hand that's very close to bottom range.
How much further to the bottom would you expect Get Over Here to be?
It's pretty much as bottom as you can get.
Wow, it's going to work as well. It's great stuff from Get Over Here.
Yeah, nice bet. And Sime Nuts with bottom range until they fold.
Mm-hmm. Right, we're still looking safe. Aaron, here's the question. I am going away for 2 weeks. On a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, how much would you miss me? No, that's not the question, guys. That is not the question, because I'm going to be here next week.
In the chat.
I am going to be here from the Outer Banks of North Carolina next week on the beach. Don't worry. I will not be going anywhere. My setup will be slightly reduced, but I'll still be at work. I want to know from you, as I will be going to the beach, I'll be there on the beach for 6 days with 2 of my very good friends. And we like to play a game. I don't know if you've heard of it, guys. It's called Waboba Ball. And basically you have a ball, you go into the ocean and you throw it against the water and it skims up and the other person has to catch it. We like this game a lot. How many times in 6 days, or the course of my holiday, or whatever you want to call it, will I throw a Waboba Ball? How many times will I throw a Waboba Ball on my holiday? Okay.
I'm going to do this very scientifically.
Silly game ball, Lime. Wow. I'm taking you to HR. This is very close to my heart, this game. It is one of the great... Guys, if you haven't played Waboba, as we see all in here, by the way, from Get Over Here, and at some point, as Sime Nuts, you have to be like, well, they can't possibly have all these hands.
Yeah, and right here, he has the gut shot to go along with his second pair. So if he does get in bad against top pair, he'll have some equity. He does make the fold. And really, Get Over Here has, every time he's tried river aggression, it has worked so far. Partly because he's ran into the bottom of his opponent's ranges, but might just feel pretty emboldened to keep trying that sort of thing if it keeps working.
I mean, yeah, look at the gap they built for themselves now. I've never heard of Spike Ball RC, but I guarantee you it's probably not as good as Waboba. It is quite possibly the best thing ever created. I can't tell you how much I enjoy it. I'm basically exclusively going to do that. So, read of it what you will.
Okay.
Having said that, at one point when I'm on the beach, I will be doing this show. So, all being well, barring some sort of industrial thunderstorm, is that a thing? The answer is locked in, guys. So you're just looking for what the answer is. We will have a winner for you very, very shortly as we take a look into the final stages of this. And honestly, it gets to the point, does it not? I mean, probably not for you, but for some players, and mentally speaking, psychologically, sometimes it's an accident where the second and third place players are getting so beat up by the chip leader for so long that they just think, you know what, outlasting the other guy, that's fine. I'm probably not going to win this tour anymore. They can run over me as much as they like. I need to outlast the other guy.
Yeah, I want to get at least one more ladder, then whatever happens, heads up happens. And so there's that part of fatigue. But other players will go the other way where they'll say, you know what, I'm tired of this guy pushing me around. I'm just going to stand up to him as the chip leader. So it just depends on the player and how they process what's happening to them. Because it is very frustrating to be Michael or Syme here and just watch your stack whittle away.
At the same time, it's $1,340. How often do you get a chance to play for that much money on the final table? That's the ladder. That's the ladder. But if you just outlast Symenuts as Michael, you get $1,380 and a chance to play. By the way, it's not like it's over. Chance to play for the $6,500 as well. And
there is still a $200 bounty in play, I believe.
Yes, $200 bounty out there.
Equity.
Yeah, a little tiny bit going on. Why North Carolina? Why not? Have you been to the Outer Banks? They're absolutely wonderful. It's one of the greatest places on earth.
There is a very well-known North Carolina anthem that I'd like to play for you at some point by P.D. Pablo.
Okay, I'd like that.
We can't play it on this channel. It's not allowed, but other channels, they allow it.
I'll be more specific, player. I'm visiting a friend in DC. They live there. We're going to be there for a week, and then we're going to drive down the East Coast to the Outer Banks, where we will be staying at my friend's beach house. So that's why.
Fancy.
I'm very much looking forward to it. And for someone that hasn't yet commented on my video after winning a $109 ticket, I think that's a very rude question. Just kidding.
Are you going to try the? There was a viral video of young British men trying American barbecue. North Carolina is known for their barbecue. Is that on your?
Oh, there'll be barbecue and crabs apparently.
Yes, excellent.
Lots of shellfish. Yes, you will be coming with 447. Symenuts with a pair. Overcards for Get Over Here. And I think we're going to be playing for this one.
Yeah.
2 overcards that you could only assume would be very good. Backdoor flush draw as well to go along with it. And the 7 as well would be good enough, as long with that 10. 9 of hearts, no good though. And again, Symenuts holds on. Michael, got to be feeling really frustrated with how many times Symenuts has managed to double on this FT from 3rd place.
It's true. It is a little freeing though, as Michael, when you're the shorter stack now, just to be like, okay, I just get to go for it. As he shoves the ace high for 10, probably getting called.
Yeah, looks likely King Jack offsuit here for Get Over Here. Should be good enough to call this one off. But they haven't called yet. And when things are going so well...
Wow.
When things are going so well, Aaron, I was about to say, in smaller pots, do you need to put the 10 big blinds in with King Jack offsuit when everyone's letting you win every other pot?
It's like being dealt aces every hand.
Exactly. Do you need to be all in on the river? No, you should fold pretty much every river, right? If you have aces every hand and someone wants to bet, because you get aces again. And look, 3 high for Get Over Here. It just seems to be a better, more profitable option for them to just play these small pots.
And Michael did shove pretty quickly from the button, which I think eliminates bottom of their range type hands, right? They're just going to be like, oh, that's a clear shove, rather than I'm not so sure about this one. So that might also factor into whether you want to call a hand that's the bottom of your range.
Player Quilla was only joking, of course, but we'll get you a link. Lime will get you a link. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think of it. Be honest. That's how we get better in life. Honesty.
You know, if you subscribe, you'll never lose it again. You'll always know where it is.
Exactly. Well done, Aaron. That's very good stuff from you. Appreciate that. We could get a shove here from Get Over Here. It's very, very feasible. And here we go. And, you know, they're in good shape against the King Queen of Michael, who will be very frustrated if they don't manage to hold this one, as 90% of the time they won't. There's the Jack on the turn, and Michael needs help and doesn't find it. And Michael learned, unfortunately, from the school of Eastie, we don't win those. 70 big blinds now for Get Over Here. It's looking like almost a foregone conclusion as we head to heads up. Symenuts survived so many times, and now the $200 that Michael is worth will go over to Get Over Here, and now Symenuts locks up that 480-40. 480-40. I mean, that's a very weird and strange way of saying 4,840. 3,500 will go to Michael, who played really well.
Yeah, I was waiting to say it. Hopefully they would win it, but definitely a Michael Robusto kind of situation, turning 109 into nearly 4K with the bounties. Really well done by them. And now we have our heads up match. Yeah,
and aces is a fairly reasonable hand to have heads up, and you know, Symenuts look, it might only be a pair of fours, but pairs are hard to come by. Heads up, we talk about this every single week. Heart on the turn, get over here, won't be too concerned because obviously you're never going to be folding a hand like this, heads up. And they'll probably still value bet, of course. But now a heart draw to go along with the pair of fours for Sime Nuts. I mean, a heart draw is a very generous way of describing this, although some heart draws, some people have called all-ins with 7 high flushes in the main event on 4 flushes. We don't know how long it took them to do that. There's unconfirmed reports of 12 minutes, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is they won the hand. 12 minutes later.
I wasn't sure if the term would end here. I didn't want to talk about my own stuff.
Yeah, it could do.
But it might end right here. Okay, it probably won't.
It seems unlikely.
But however much time I took, it was the right amount of time. If I called in 10 seconds, it might end right here.
Wow, we're going to get a bluff here from Sime Nuts. They're going to go for it, try to get themselves back into this game, get over here with aces, only has to call to win this tournament, and is going to fold, and Sime Nuts from nowhere buys that pot.
Great play by them, assuming their opponent has thin value, and they have a hand that's could call, but works very well as a bluff, blocking some 2-pair and some flushes. And the most important thing is, how often do you think your opponent's bluffing there? And if I'm get over here, I would have folded too. Thought not very often. So it's a great time for Sime Nuts to go for it.
Unfortunately, there is still a long way to go for Sime Nuts. And they had the chip lead for a lot of this day. They don't have it right now. And to get to it, it would require quite a bit more of exactly that kind of play. And maybe some luck along the way as well. It's quite the deficit. And it looks like it may not be eaten into in this hand unless Sime Nuts finds another bluff here. Pocket threes, under pair to the board. Lots of better hands that could fold to a bet. Do we go for it? No, we don't.
Yeah, sometimes after you've just pulled a big bluff, I think a lot of people are hesitant to do it again. Sort of like I got away with it one time. Maybe they're more likely to call me a second. And the other school of thought is, maybe they're going to fold because they believe I just have it again.
Yeah. NetJam arrives for the evening. That is a late arrival. I wonder whether that means you were successful, or at least that Greek one was successful. With the Prime for 20 months, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in, despite the fact that you have other commitments. I like to think they rush home when they're finished.
Yeah, you want to catch the end of the show.
Yeah, of course. The meaty end. Second tonight, see, I told you, I had a good feeling about the time they turned up. Got to level 18 at Goliath on Sunday. Unlucky. That's a lot of levels to not make day 2. I made day 2 with 5 levels in the main. Didn't make it much further.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. No one already knows. Great stuff. They do rush home. I hope you are responsible with your travel. I don't want you putting yourselves in harm's way to get home in time. Although, I'm not saying don't. Aaron wouldn't say don't either. Aaron will say get home at all costs.
I mean, it is the show that you can watch on, like a later point if you subscribe, I believe.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Wow, you're doing some great plugging this evening.
Yeah, just plugging everyone else's content but my own.
Yeah,
much easier this way.
They live quite close to the pub, so that's good.
That's good. It's a pub as well. Yeah, I get home safe.
5 minutes. Yeah, is it a walk? It's a walk or a drive. It's late to be walking home. Not to win the Wheel of Justice. You could win the Wheel of Justice. I mean, unless you're not on the wheel, that would be a problem. 9.9 big blinds here for Sime Nuts. Jack 5 of spades. Pocket 8s, the best hand in the game. Some say
the best.
The pseudo best hand of the game. Yeah, it does win another one. I think
one thing that's really freeing to me about 8s is that I can never do anything wrong with it.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I lose the all in, well, whatever.
Yeah, you can just say, well, it's the best hand of the game. What do you want me to do? I'm ambassadorial. All in the call here, Jack high flop, but that is completely and totally unhelpful otherwise because there's so many spades. Go over here has 2 in their hand, and that is good enough for the tournament. That'll be $6,530 going the way of Get Over Here. And, while they did get fortunate, 3-handed to keep themselves in the game, that ace-8 against Jacks, they played extremely well.
Yes.
Having taken the chip lead and fully deserved the victory.
Yeah, and Get Over Here was on my short list of people to pick earlier when we were doing the player picks. And I saw in my database that they win a lot of chips and they earn a lot of chips, the things we were talking about. You know, so
What
like
happened
it's
to
no
the spirit
surprise
of the
that they
game,
won.
Aaron?
That is the spirit.
Looking at the database,
and they have a really cool
this is-
name that reminds Nick of a game he used to play. So
I
for
still
those
play it.
reasons, we're happy they won. Congratulations, get over here on your nearly 7,000. In fact, I think it's more because you have all the
Yeah,
bounties.
they want
Almost
some bounties.
8,000.
Wow, well done to get over here. 8,000, well-deserved victory here for Get Over Here. And there's some victories to hand out into chat as well, because we do have a winner of my silly question. Aaron thinks, where I asked Aaron, how many times will I throw a Woboba ball whilst on holiday over the next 2 weeks? Now, Aaron, how did you get to your answer and why?
So you're there for 6 days, right? It's a 6-day vacation.
It's a 15-day vacation, but 6 of those days will be spent at the beach.
Yes. So I figure there is some travel to this destination, not just the beach, but the beach house, etc. And when you have a lovely beach house, you can't spend every moment at the beach. So I pretty much calculated, looks like I put 4 hours of being in the water and throwing the ball. You know, again, you're at the beach for a long time. You've got to host the show from the beach. You can't throw the ball when you're hosting the show. So 4 hours, 3 you know, throwing the ball around, having a good time. Might lose the ball a bit. 1 throw from you per minute. 4 hours, 240 throws.
1 throw per minute.
The ball skips away. You got to go get it. You got to dodge a shark. Got to go back to the beach house.
Not with the professional gamers that I'm bringing with me.
I see.
So you guessed 240, which is correct for the purposes of the game, and that means that Tokyo Goo has won with a guess of 237 throws of the Woboba ball.
Wow,
Let me
great
tell
guess.
you guys, despite the fact that Tokyo Goo winning that, and despite the fact that Aaron put in some really terrible maths, it is going to be so many more throws than that. Easily into 4 figures, comfortably into the 4 figures, approaching 5 figures. Let me tell you for free how many times I'm going to throw that damn ball.
Can we get one of those like Fitbits, but instead of tracking your steps, it tracks your throws? Because there's no way. If you get to 5, your arm's gonna fall off.
I may
5
count.
Okay.
It's a really addictive game. I went on holiday with my friend. Just quickly, guys. I went on holiday with my friend before and played this game, and we pretty much exclusively were in the sea for like a good 5 hours per day playing. So, anyway, that's gonna do it, guys, for today. Only one more thing to do. And I think we are going to give away a $20 ticket by virtue of the Wheel of Justice. Now, Aaron, would you like to spin today, or would you like me to spin?
I would like you to spin.
Okay.
If that's okay.
I'm going to spin the wheel, guys. Good luck to everybody on there. $320 ticket up for grabs. If it lands on you, you need to be here. Don't forget you have to be here. So without further ado, spin that wheel. Here he comes. The wheel is spinning, and we're going to have a look to see who has won. It is stopping. It is starting to stop. Our Morais is very close. So is Polar Bear. Polar Bear. Polar_bear 975. I don't remember seeing Polar Bear much in chat.
But
doesn't mean they're not here.
Hibernation.
Oh, come on.
$320 ticket.
Or don't look at the camera like that.
And the claws will come out when he realizes he missed
Polar
out.
Bear is here. They've pounced on their prey, and their prey is the $320 ticket. No coolers here for Polar Bear. They are going to take home that ticket by virtue of the wheel. Congratulations. You have played very well, and congratulations for being here. Thanks. You are welcome. And that's going to be it for today, Mr. Jackpot. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I have. Had a great time, and I am actually going to be, coming back here this week. I'm not here Tuesday. I believe Tuesday, Josh Manley is hosting. The Josh Manley.
The very own.
We had a bit of an issue for Wednesday. I was scheduled to play Blast Off against Ian, and it turns out Ian was erroneously placed there, and they had to go through the entire roster to see who wanted to play me in Blast Off. And it turns out the answer was, not surprisingly, nobody. Nobody wanted to play me, but guess who stepped up? Josh Manley.
Josh Manley Poker.
Back here on Tuesday and Wednesday for more 88 Poker TV fun. I will be here on Wednesday for the Blast Off. So hope to see you guys then.
Yep, that's going to do it from us, guys. Thank you very much. I'll join you next week from the United States of America. And we'll do another main event. Appreciate everybody watching. Congratulations to all our winners. And congratulations to our winner of the day, taking home that massive prize as well. See you next time. All the best.